What a joyous Saturday morning. It's your boy G Bush in the barbershop, man, and this is gonna be one of them ones. Not so much one of those ones in terms of, people talk about receipts all the time. This is more of a fact-finding mission. This is more of a history lesson. This is more along the lines of saying, this is what we've been telling you from the longest point in time. And in this episode, for what it's worth, there are a lot of people who cover the Cleveland Browns team. There are a lot of people who have their opinions based on what the Cleveland Browns is and what they are and what they aren't. We've heard people have an opinion about the quarterback. We've had an opinion about what they believe in the draft. We haven't had an opinion about who should start at quarterback. Should Shedeur Sanders, is he ready or not? Or whatever the case may be. But in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through a timeline. And I don't say I told you so a lot, but I think sometimes it's very important to remind people. I'm always willing to give people off ramps, right? But I'm going to remind you that in the midst of everything that has gone on, over in the barbershop, we have been 1,000% correct on basically everything that has transpired since the draft. I think we the only, when it comes to batting average, we bat in the highest level over here. And the reason we bat the highest level is because we've always stood on one principle. Look, man, what God got for you, you can't do nothing against it. It's to a point right now that people is confused how these dominoes is falling each and every day. These dominoes is falling each and every week. It's something miraculous. It's something extra that happens each and every week on this show. And from the time when it was looked like, oh, well, you're doing the Shedeur Sanders content, and it was, that's all you're doing. And nah, if you only skimmed, like Jay-Z said, do you rappers listen to music, or do you just skim through it? If you just skim over what we're talking about over here, you may think that everything we talk about is based on a backup quarterback or the quarterback or who's Dylan Gabriel playing this week or Shedeur Sanders really, really ready. You may think that's what we're talking about, but if you actually drill down on exactly what we've been saying from day one, you may say, wow, I knew he was the Duke of knee jerk, but I didn't know he was breaking it down like that. I didn't know he was really moving like that. I didn't know where he really said that, and that. And by the way, everything that we've talked about has come to pass. Everything that we spoke about, people have been magically moved out of the way. People have been complaining about DePodesta, the boogeyman, for how long? And what we tell y'all? Magically, when God got something for you, he will move you up out of the way. He will move you and put you different places. He will set you aside. And people who've been watching this for years say, how all of a sudden this is the year the DePodesta decides in the middle of the year, I'm gone? It's no coincidence. We're going to break it down. DePodesta, the move is just not in a vacuum. It signals something greater that we've already alluded to. We've given you the breadcrumbs, and this is a major domino. If you want to know how we got to this point, and we're going to show you just why I believe that this is the beginning of a massive movement for the Cleveland Browns. You're going to want to watch this one. Get your coffee ready. Get your tea ready. Get everything you got ready to go. Get your stuff sitting down. It ain't going to be inflammatory. It's going to be more like a lesson. This is real surgical. History playing. We're going to give you the backstory on this. And we're going to do it in the only way. Entertainment. In the only way that we could do it right here. If you know, you know. On the barbershop. Get ready to jump off. We want to welcome in, first and foremost, shout out to every member. Shout out to all the members. Come on in. We appreciate you, man. You could be doing a lot of different other things in the world. By the way, if you are a member, we have all shirts out to members. Remember, if you are a platinum member, please hit me up. fifthdimensionmedia1@gmail.com. And if you had a birthday in the past, if you are now a person or individual who signed up for the platinum membership, we got all the barbershop shirts going out to you. You get a free gift every year. We've been sending those out to those individuals who, guess what? Maybe your birthday happened in, December. Maybe your birthday happened last July. We only started memberships in October. So if you had a birthday this year and you're a platinum member, we're going to honor that. We're going to make sure you get your gift for this year, not next year. Don't wait till next year where you could do what we want to do now. So let us know, fifthdimensionmedia1@gmail.com. Rosie will put that in the chat. So let us know name, your size, and your address, and we will send that out to you. We're caught up on all the shirts, so hopefully you guys are getting those. Those should be to your doorsteps in a short matter of time, and we appreciate every single person as well. And as a matter of fact, the ones that you're seeing down here, that's rolling and scrolling throughout the screen, we make sure you guys are seeing, so you get priority showing. Your comments will be showing at the bottom of the screen. That's how we do it on the barbershop. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button and subscribe. Don't feel pressure to super chat. Don't feel pressure, but if you want to, we appreciate you, and we appreciate all of your comments, all of your likes. And if you just don't, hey, look, it's Christmas time. If you just want to show support, a like and a comment will do us great, because it does because there's a good opportunity for the algorithm to get this content to like-minded Browns followers, Browns subscribers, Browns people who enjoy this style of content. So we appreciate each and every one of you on this Saturday morning. So let's get to it. I chilled out a little bit. I was chilling this week, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to see the landscape go into effect. I wanted to see and read the land. I wanted to figure out what was going on in Berea. I think this news broke. The news broke. And, my wife, she always listening to the radio. She comes in, she says, listen, DePodesta's gone. I said, man, I thought I saw he was interested, but I really didn't know. And he comes up and he takes the job with the Colorado Rockies. Now, for a lot of people that don't know, he is a baseball guy. He started off, obviously, he did the movie Moneyball. His character in Moneyball was depicted by Jonah Hill. And I always talk about Moneyball, and Moneyball never won. Moneyball is the way you view analytics, and you use analytics in order, basically, to maximize how you go about picking players, and in a market size in baseball where there's no salary cap, and small market teams like the Oakland Athletics don't really have the money to compete with the Yankees, Red Sox, and certain things like that. If you go back and watch those teams in real life, the Oakland Athletics never really won anything. As a matter of fact, Oakland Athletics were so terrible after a while, they had to move to Las Vegas. They were probably one of the worst teams in the game. So you take a look at that philosophy. He takes that philosophy, Ivy League guy, comes to the Cleveland Browns and gets there in 2016. In 2016, he's the individual, the architect that says, he takes a look at this, the landscape of the team. He takes a look at the salary cap, and he says, what we need to do is tank. And the Cleveland Browns embark on a 1-31 tanking session that paid dividends to get and draft capital to get Baker Mayfield and Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb and Denzel Ward, and basically the foundation of the people that we have today. But as you can see, from 2016 to now, you only have a couple of those pieces and foundation pieces left in the building. He got into a power struggle with John Dorsey, who was the general manager at the time. It was the analytics department versus the football guys. The guys who look at it on the field and have a hunch, can a guy play? Obviously, there are analytics to everything, but there is sometimes that things go wrong. Sometimes things get a little extra. Sometimes things you take it a step too far. And analytics is fine for me. Analytics is cool. Everybody uses data. Let's not act like we don't use data in our everyday lives. The problem is if your data is wrong and everybody is aligned into one thought process, you're screwed. I ain't got a problem with being aligned. But if you're aligned in the wrong direction, we got a problem. It's a certain thing for people being able to have an argument and a conversation and say, listen, I don't see it the same way you see it. All too often today, now people is way too offended if you don't have the same type of mindset as them. Oh, you didn't back me up on what we don't need to back you up on everything you say. How serious do you got to take yourself if every single time somebody say something you don't like, you just offended? And so when you're inside an organization and you got one person with a direction that wants to look at analytics and another person that says, I'm going to base it on a football context. I'm going to base it on what I've seen, my knowledge, what I know. Why is it a problem? Well, it ended up being a problem because they used John Dorsey as the guy to get rid of. John Dorsey got Freddie Kitchens, made him the coach, and Freddie Kitchens was the coach. And I always tell you guys how it is with perception, because the perception is, again, this is during the time where, you know how the media is. If you say something long enough and hard enough, it becomes factual. But if you actually go look at the numbers for Freddie Kitchens, his offenses were better than anything Kevin Stefanski ever put up during his coach of the year in situations. Was Freddie Kitchens a great coach? No. But is Kevin Stefanski a good coach? Heck no. But the reality is you can spin it any way you want. Odell Beckham Jr., 1,000 yards. Jarvis Landry, 1,000 yards. Nick Chubb, 1,400 yards. Kareem Hunt, almost 600, 700, 800 yards. Right? Huh? 600, 800. So Baker Mayfield, 4,000 yards. So you made it. Oh, well, it was bungle after bungle behind the scenes. But bungle after bungle behind the scenes are still going on, and we still don't got an offense. So you get rid of John Dorsey. Dorsey is gone. And now the analytics bunch has taken over the building. Everybody is aligned. Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, and Paul DePodesta. Now, here's where the rubber hits the road. You've aligned, you've gotten everything that you wanted. You had your analytics department, but let's talk about some of the moves you made to get yourself and put yourself in this situation. I think it's fancy that people always talk about the Deshaun Watson is the thing that got you out of here. The Deshaun Watson was the thing that it was the 3 picks. It was this, it was this, it was that, it was this. Let me ask y'all a question. Whose identification and whose evaluation was it that when Baker Mayfield came up for a contract, this front office told us they wanted him to prove he was worth a certain amount of money? They wanted him to prove it on the field before they gave him $40 million. That started with Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, and Paul DePodesta. You got to understand, Deshaun Watson wasn't even in the mix at the time. He wasn't even thought about at the time. See, the problem is the Cleveland Browns caused the mess, and Deshaun Watson was the reason to get out of the mess. But you can't say, oh, the backup plan didn't work, so therefore it was all on him. No. Whose decision was it to play Kevin Stefanski? Whose decision was it to play Baker Mayfield when we told you in this city he is injured, he is hurt, sit him down? At the time, we had a dominant defense. We had receivers that could have done something. And by the way, go look at the game that they played. Go look when Baker Mayfield was injured and he sat out a week before we played the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cleveland Browns, I believe, played the Denver Broncos on national TV. And at the time, they paid Case Keenum, the most expensive quarterback in the league, $8 million a year. The backup was making $8 million a year. The backup made $8 million a year. You paid him, do what he needed to do. Guess what he did? He came out and won the game. came out and won the football game. The very next week, the Browns and Kevin Stefanski said, Baker Mayfield's going back in the game. He's going to play again. That led to a precipitous drop. That led to a lack of offense. That led to Baker playing the worst football he had seen. And it put a rift between people in the locker room, Baker Mayfield, and the organization, because we all knew he was injured. But they told Baker Mayfield, unless you get out here and you play, unless you play for this contract, you're done. We're not going to give you a contract. So I find it very funny and interesting that it's all on the Deshaun Watson move, when guess what? You caused the Deshaun Watson move. You made the evaluation that Baker wasn't good enough, and you told him to go play injured. But now that's not your fault either. Hindsight 2020, I'm just keeping it a buck with you. I was here. I was covering the team then. Covering them then. Had sources then. Had sources then. I told you about the Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield rift. I told you about that directly. I told you why Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield didn't get along, because he took the side of Mason Rudolph. And Myles Garrett said what he said. He said Mason Rudolph called him a racial slur. And guess what? He went off. Baker Mayfield came out and said, that's Bush League. He's going to probably get suspended for that. And Myles Garrett was like, how you going to just jump out here and tell on national TV in front of everybody when you don't even know the story? And you didn't even get my side of it. You just jumped off the porch and said, that didn't happen. Myles Garrett got suspended 6 games, had to go to anger management. He came out later on and said what Mason Rudolph said. Magically, those tapes got missing. Because you know they got microphones in the headphones, right? It was a whole thing. The Cleveland Browns are not absolved from that at all. So now that you understand the backstory, let's get into how that plays today. How does this play today? Well, Darren Ryder talked about it a little bit on 92.3 The Fan. Darren Ryder spoke about it. And he said the whole point of hiring Paul DePodesta was to help the Browns win consistently. They had 2 winning seasons in 9.5 seasons while he was here. They still lost big, even while trying to outsmart everyone. They're in no better shape than they are of February of 2016. And he is correct. They are in no better shape than they were when he was here. No better shape than when he was here. And Paul DePodesta, as my Game of Thrones references always hit on, Paul DePodesta is the hand of the king. He is the person that whispers in the king's ear, King, you shouldn't probably do this. Have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about raising taxes? Have you thought about having a jousting tournament? The fans need something to believe in. Have you thought about possibly adding a little festival? Paul DePodesta is the guy who's bouncing off ideas all over the place. And the most naive thing that people don't understand, and see, here's the thing that I love about having real jobs before this. For better or wrong, no knock against people. Most people who start in this journalist industry or the media industry, they really get into it early. They're into this right now. They get in and out of college. They start writing for their local college paper. They get a nice little job and they start writing in a small town in Lubbock, Texas. And then they move up to Memphis, Tennessee. Then they move up and then you continue to work on your craft and you get to where you're going. See, unlike a lot of people, I didn't have real jobs. My track record came from working with insurance companies. My track record came with sitting, doing applications to try to get reimbursement on the behalf of insurance companies for university hospitals, Cleveland Clinic. I worked with disability specialists. I had a team of them. That's where I come from. We had lawyers that would go in. So if you got a claim denied for disability, our firm would take on the government and say, hey, this is why we believe that this person should get disability. And I did that for 8 to 10 years of my life with 20 people up underneath me, direct reports. And the great thing about working there is you understand what's said don't need to be spoken out loud. The unwritten rules. You understand what the corporate atmosphere is. You learn how to maneuver and joust and get to where you need to go. And the thing about this, what people don't understand is when they say, well, we don't know what Paul DePodesta does, so how do we even actually know he was a person that was a problem in the industry? When your name is Chief Strategy Officer, that tells you all you need to know. Maybe y'all don't look at the names. I'm used to reading them nameplates. When you are a Chief Strategy Officer, that means everything involved with strategy in your organization is belonging under your umbrella. When I say Chief Strategy, you got a strategy about how you manipulate the cap. There's a strategy about how you scout players. There's a strategy about what skills that you value in players. There's a strategy in terms of what personality you want for players. There's a strategy when it comes to how many times you're going to run the ball, how many times you'll pass the ball, what your weight and conditioning programs are, what specific weight you want at each position, what height, weight, what the level of acumen that you want. Are you having people do tests? I wouldn't be surprised if they have specific testing. We give out, why do you think people and employers give out testing before they hire you in certain positions? Right? You done been in college, but still they give you a standardized test that you ain't never seen in your life, and you got to go in there and take it. Put a 1 in the chat if you didn't have to take one of them. Maybe I'm a little off. Put a 1 in the chat if you had to take one of them tests. Hey, have you ever been in a test where you got to take an assessment? You sit in front of 2 people. One of them is on the left, one of them on the right. You don't know who the decision maker is. But they go back and forth and ask you questions. Tell me a time about this. Tell me a time you had to work under stress. Tell me a time when you didn't know the answer to something. Tell me a time when you were in your other job. And so you're not even talking about the job. This is a personality and cognitive test. And then you leave and you walk around, you're like, I don't even know where I was. I don't know. I was at a job interview. Was I at a job interview or a CIA interview? Did I rob a bank somewhere? And then they called you back and give you the deal. Unfortunately, we've decided to go with another candidate. You don't know why, how, what. You didn't even talk about the specific position. As a matter of fact, the position that you were looking for is the position that I have currently in my other role. I just took the job description for my job right now and looked at you. Unfortunately, you don't have the requirements for this role. How? How do I not have the requirements for this role? And I've been in this role, a senior level role, for 6 years. And the experience level that you only want for this is 2 years. Or if you're lucky, they call you back in, and then you got to take another test. So hold on, I done did an interview. This is the second round of interviews. You get there, and it's a whole nother 2 different people. Not the same 2 you had before, it's another 2 people. And you're like, what the heck is going on? The reason I know this and all these ones is going on, because let me tell you something. I used to be the one giving the interviews. I used to be one of them people that was behind the desk asking these questions. I did it for 6 years. So I know what the method to the madness is. I understand. So I know how the sausage is made. I know what's in the pork and beans. And I know who made the potato salad. So when people are sitting here telling you, well, we don't know what he does, that is by default. That is by, you think that's a coincidence? That's guilt by omission. The reason they don't want you to know exactly where Paul DePodesta is at all times is because if you don't know what he does, and you don't know who reports to him, how can you in the media hold anybody accountable? How can you hold Paul DePodesta accountable for anything? Drafting, players, the win-loss record, if you don't even know what they do. See, the scary part about life is when you're working in corporate America is you'll never identify the decision maker. See, the hand of the king is just as powerful as the king. He carries around his stamp. He carries around his signature. He is the representation of what the king is. If the hand of the king shows up in your village and says taxes are raised 35%, the taxes is going to be raised 35% because he's the direct extension of the king. He's the hand of the king. And what you do with your hand is you move pieces and parts, and your hand is by which you feed people, and your hand is by which you discipline people, and your hand is the way you move policy, people, perception. So when you guys are sitting around and I just wait to let y'all watch, I watched all week. Sometimes you got to move in silence. They said, G. Bush, you pull out you had a little 2-minute joint. You and Earl the Pearl was talking about, you know what I'm saying, some other stuff, and DePodesta got fired or he went to the Rockies. You only had 2 minutes, bro. You had a little 3-minute joint. You had a 3-minute joint. What's going on, G. Bush? Did you have a tough week? You got 3 minutes on it. You didn't go break that down. I said, no. See, I waited. I wanted to see what y'all gonna do. See, a lot of y'all cats, y'all say I'm the Duke of knee-jerk, but what y'all be doing, y'all be watching too. Y'all be seeing. Y'all be waiting. Let me see what G. Bush got on this one. Let me see what he got, because he said he got some sources somewhere. I'm going to figure this out. Does he really have sources? I don't know, but he'd be right sometimes. See, if y'all think I'm going to be arguing with y'all all the time, I don't got to argue with y'all all the time. Like, hey, think what you going to think. I ain't got to argue with y'all over here. If you think that every time somebody come up and jump up and down and say something, that I'm gonna have to stand and just and argue back. No, I'm not arguing back and forth. I'm gonna just stay right over here and be right. So I was quiet on y'all cats, and you don't get it. If the hand of the king is gone, what does that mean for the rest of the people? What does that mean for the general in the army? What does that mean? Listen, I know ain't no audio visuals. This is just homework. I know this is kind of tough. I'm just giving, this is lecture notes. Sometimes you got to get the lecture. Sometimes you can't get all stimulated and emotional. Sometimes you got to get the lecture, and it's the lecture. If the hand of the king is gone, the master of coin is in jeopardy, right? What about the high priest? What about the high septon? What about the maesters? Huh? All them positions is up for grabs. Because when you look at it, who in terms of what's happening, he's the chief of staff. The chief of staff is the person that spends and does and makes sure, hey, I need a stadium and I need some taxpayer money. How we get it? See, this is what happened. Even they was like, look, man, even my phone was like, you doing too much. I need to find some money. Who do I talk to? Well, we can talk to this senator, and we can reach out to, we have a couple of people on the appropriations board, and this was a bigger move than anybody let on. Real, and by the way, Khalil Samad, like lasagna, in the words of Lil Wayne, real G's move in silence like lasagna. You know why? When you don't say nothing and you keep in the dark, the loudest one is the most vulnerable one. Go watch. It's a little book called The 3-Body Problem. It's called the Dark Forest Hypothesis. The universe is hostile. If there are aliens out there, they might not feel like they want to hang out and watch another civilizations grow up to get rid of them. So here's what we'll do. If we find you, we're going to get rid of you first. If you never know what he do, if you never know where Dr. Claw live at, huh? Girly Girl 4748, G went all in with the Game of Thrones references. Yeah, they don't understand. I got a lot of time on my hands. Girly Girl, we ain't playing today. But Paul DePodesta was the ringmaster. And now the alignment has been broken. It's every man for himself. Every man for himself. Because you don't just take DePodesta leaving in a vacuum. It is coupled with inexplicable things that have happened all along the way. It's inexplicable all along the way of the events that have taken place thus far. Do you think it's a coincidence? The division has always been in the front office. When you be with somebody for 6 years and you're not winning, this is why I told all of my brethren in the media, when they kept coming to us with that nonsense, kept coming to you with that extra stuff, I was coming at you with the real stuff. The stuff that I done been in, the stuff that I know about. In corporate America, ain't no such thing as planned taking L's. You know why? Because it's divisive. Don't know rich billionaire people like taking L's. Don't know top of the food chain type athletes that are a top 1%. We're talking about the top 1% in the universe. Do you know what kind of I got people that I know that got egos. They ain't good at nothing. They ain't particularly pretty, not tall, not particularly athletic, ain't smart, middle of the road, don't really work that hard, don't got no fashion appeal. Not really a nice person, just medium person. Some days they good, some days they got an attitude. Morals is like this, shaky. You offer them enough money to do something, they might be the one to be like, yeah, I got to take that bag. And they got egos. They got the crazy egos. So what you think billionaires got and Ivy League grads got? They've been told their whole life that they are better than you and I. They've been shown that they are valued higher than you and I. Why you think that they can take L's and nobody writes that they should be gone? Because it's a conditioning. If you go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Colgate, guess what? Columbia, guess what? They've already told you. You don't think you get to them halls? You don't think you get to them hallways and don't understand that you are better than them. You're the leaders of this country. It is your birthright to rule and govern over these peasants. So when you start losing and taking L's, losing is a truth serum. And when you start losing and people start getting anxious and the owners start asking questions, I don't care where you went to school at, you still human. And when people talk about, well, they planned to tank, I say, good luck with that. I know how this game ends. Who said that? I know it ain't. I know. Who told you that? Yeah, that sounds good. Guys, you just got to be patient. Guys, you just got to be patient. It's going to happen. You know, we'll be back in 2029. I said, you're a fool if you think it worked like that. Less than 6 months later, check out the timetable. Kenny Pickett. Y'all wrote all along. The propaganda was long and strong. Kenny Pickett never played it down for you. Kenny Pickett wasn't good in Pittsburgh. He's not good nowhere else. But you wrote articles and kept writing, and people, you kept telling me what the Browns like. Now you sound stupid. You're telling on yourself. Every single time you say what the Browns want to do, why would you sully your name for the Browns? Why we don't have television. We know what the Browns. We understand what the Browns are. They lied to you to start with and didn't know what they was looking at with Kenny Pickett. Never played it down. And then they thought they was doing something great by trading him for what they traded him for, a 5th-round pick. I'm the one who came to you and told you, all of this for a 5th-round pick. All of this for a 5th-round pick. I mean, the guys, he's a 5th-round pick for a reason. Well, I can say the same thing. Kenny Pickett was traded by the Philadelphia Eagles to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th-round pick. So by proxy, doesn't that mean he's the same as the fit? I mean, if you got traded for a 5th-round pick and they acquired you for a 5th-round pick, let's say it all together, boys and girls. Your value is a 5th-round pick. But you never had no problem. You never had a problem writing articles and doing blogs and jumping up and down like Kenny Pickett was something different. He wasn't. Then we got to Joe Flacco. The pivot was, okay, Joe Flacco. Yeah. Until Joe Flacco wasn't there. And then a funny thing happened. I started to see the divide. Funny thing happened. I watched Joe Flacco, and I didn't see the Flacco for 23. We all didn't. I'm seeing dink and dunk. I'm seeing check down Charlie at a rapid pace that I haven't seen. And I didn't watch Joe Flacco since he didn't came out of Delaware. I watched Joe Flacco when he transferred from Pitt. One thing you can't get mad about the Duke and knee jerk is I put the work in. I already know. Listen. It's a vault up there. I know. I ain't forgot. So it's looking nasty. And like I always told you, that's not nothing new. That's a characteristic of Kevin Stefanski's offense. But nobody ain't going to write that because guess what? Kevin, we've already doubled down on him being a genius. So Stefanski, and we've already said, Deshaun Watson's numbers were terrible last year. They were terrible. He was no good. Yeah, who was he under? So just like the first 6 games, guess what happened? The offense struggles. Joe Flacco looks terrible. And here's the first time I knew that there was a rift in the front office. Instead of Joe Flacco being demoted to a second-team quarterback and Dylan Gabriel, the handpicked guy of Kevin Stefanski, being promoted to first-string quarterback, Joe Flacco was inexplicably traded to the division rival, which was so egregious that another division rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers said, "What are you doing?" Again, denoting that this guy has always told you about the backdoor dealings and handlings and the unwritten rules in this industry that you're not allowed to do. And Mike Tomlin felt it was so egregious that he had to call out the name of the people who did it. There has never been a trade between the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals since Paul Brown was abruptly let go by Art Modell. And he started, and Paul Brown and his family started the Cincinnati Bengals. There's been a silent, cold world. They are not friendly. But somehow, lo and behold, Joe Flacco's gone. You know why? Because the plan was all along. The division was there. At that point, Andrew Berry saw a vacuum. Andrew Berry saw an inside. He saw a crack, a sliver of space. Because don't you think, you think that they say Paul DePodesta, you think Paul DePodesta just announced a couple of days ago he was going? You thought that would just happen, just so happen that DePodesta said, I'm going today? You fools. Just like when you are in corporate America, what do they ask for? If you're in a position, a regular position, they want 2 weeks notice. Put a 1 in the chat if you're picking up what I'm putting down. When you resign from a position, your company wants 2 weeks notice. If you are an executive, a decision maker, upper level management, they demand a month, and you better be talking about specifically where you're going in your industry, because you got a non-compete. You ain't gonna be working for the rival company because you got proprietary knowledge. You might have a non-compete up to a year. And if we do let you out without that non-compete, we better be knowing in a month. Because guess what we got to do? We got to figure out a contingency plan. We got to figure out who's going to take that role. We got to figure out what we doing at this position, how we moving. So you know DePodesta been told them he was going to go do his thing with the Rockies. Boy, this is why, boy, the ones let me know. So Andrew Berry said, oh, in the word of the Game of Thrones, there's a power void. The hand of the king is gone. Might I want to be insulated? Might I want to put my silent application in with the king? Right now, you don't think he got people say, AB? AB. Because guess what? Andrew Berry got master of whispers. It's always a little finger. It's always a Tyrion. It's always a Varys. You need to do this. Well, AB, if you would like to be the hand of the king, you need to make your mark on this team. You already have Quinshon Judkins. You already have all of the talent. You got Harold Fanning Jr. Carson Schlesinger looked like a beast. Heck, you even got Myles Garrett to come back. He disgruntled. But if you place a certain somebody, I think he can get behind that. How do you know Myles Garrett can get behind a certain somebody at quarterback? Well, that's what you pay us for. How do you know Denzel Ward will get behind a certain quarterback? Well, that's what you pay us for, whispers. So now Andrew Berry says, well, here's what we're going to do. We already know your plan was already going to be to play Dillon Gabriel, because guess what? Kevin Stefanski also is privy to the information that Paul DePodesta is gone. And he would like to have his name elevated. His handpicked guy was Dillon Gabriel. And he was going to move heaven and earth to play Dillon Gabriel this year, period. Period. It's the reason why he's been getting first-team reps. It's the reason why when he talks about him, he talks about him differently. It's the reason why he's always been getting his money off and always will continue to get his money off. But you know what Andrew Berry did? He took that piece off the board. And he said, okay, well, if you want to play Dillon Gabriel, if you want to play him, go ahead. But I'm taking Joe Flacco off the board. This is chess, not checkers. I'm taking him smooth off the board. So now Dillon Gabriel is going to have to sink or swim on his own with somebody looking over his shoulder. Because you know what? Come to find out, I think I was on the sideline talking to Shedeur Sanders saying you really did a good job. I think I was the one that went down there and said you were balling. And you know what? I think I want him to be the backup quarterback. He trades Joe Flacco in the middle of the week to the Bengals, and then understands that if he trades Joe Flacco to the Bengals, he's going to cook, because Joe Flacco is going to have an axe to grind, because Joe Flacco is saying, I know you didn't put me on the bench for that. You had the nerve to put me on the bench for Dylan Gabriel. Listen, at least if it was Kenny Pickett or Shedeur Sanders, I might think of, but I refuse. You know what? Get me up out of here. And he linked up in 10 days with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and that offense of Cincinnati. And he done threw for more yards than everybody combined for the Cleveland Browns in a few weeks. Guess who that looks bad upon? Your offense, Kevin. How is it Dylan can't look good with all these reps? And how is it that your boy Joe Flacco is out here cooking? You know what that did? That put Kevin Stefanski in a bad place. Put him in a bad place. It did. You know why? Because like I've always said on these airwaves, I've always said this. I said, what keeps you on the field is your play. The narrative-based stuff can mess with the fans' mindset. You could get that off in OTAs, training camp, or wherever you want to do, but you can't get that off during the middle of the season, because the NFL is piping and giving you all of this information every single week in the offseason. And it's narrative-based, mud wrestling, Maury Povich, Jerry Springer content. And that content is like red meat, and people devour it, and it keeps the 24-hour news cycle going. But once that football season hit, and you realize that there's 18 games and those games count, and you seeing it with your own two eyes, ain't no narrative in the world can keep you on the field. So what he did, he took the backup plan away. Kevin Stefanski was always going to play Dylan Gabriel. And if Dylan Gabriel faltered, he was going to put Joe Flacco back in. And his excuse would have been, well, Joe gives us the best chance to win games. Joe gives us the best chance. Then he would have went back to Dylan Gabriel again once Dylan Gabriel got his feet wet so he could sit back and then they could spin it. Well, Dylan, after he sat a little bit and had the time to watch, we played him a little earlier than we really wanted to, all that good stuff. Guess what? He took that off the table. Then this happened. Everybody in this city, everybody wrote, Bailey's happy, Bailey's happy, Bailey's happy, Bailey's happy, Bailey's happy, Bailey's happy, Bailey's happy. Listen. But people forget that Bailey Zappi played here last year. There's a thing about the internet. He wasn't good for us last year. Let's stop acting like you're gonna make believe Bailey Zappi was good. He's not. He's not. Where are you getting that conversation from? Who's telling you that? No sane, rational individual would go to the step of saying Bailey Zappi gives you the best chance to win. And everybody jumped on it during the week when Kevin Stefanski said, you know what? I haven't decided who's going to be the backup quarterback yet. Until he went into that office meeting and he was told who was the backup quarterback was going to be. It's the first step. He realized this is a different game. It's every man for himself. It was the first time somebody had told him, no, Kevin, you don't have control over that. What? Shedeur Sanders is the backup quarterback. What follows is mythical injuries and back injuries, and is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he ready? Is he not ready? And what I've always told you is I play the long game over here. I play the long game over here. It's like this. you can keep saying Shedeur Sanders ain't ready. That won't matter because Dylan Gabriel is playing so poorly that argument is not even null and void. So I'm not gonna argue with you. Like why would I argue and waste my time with you, my man, or my lady, my fair maidens? Why would I move? I can be still and silent and understand how this thing is breaking down. So when Bailey Zappi was taken off the table and Shedeur Sanders was the quarterback or the backup quarterback, the next thing transpired and dropped. Well, guess what? Now that that's transpired, they want to get you to a point where they're like, hey, well, yeah, like we want Andrew Berry to answer for this. We want AB to come out. What about all these trades? What about this? What about that? Why does Kevin Stefanski have to be out there talking? And Andrew Berry was like, no, I decline to speak. What? You just said, no, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm cool with that. Now Kevin got to come out and answer to. He got to come out and answer to Flacco. Is Dylan Gabriel even good? What are we doing? Why we keep getting blown out? Is Shedeur Sanders actually ready? When you taking Dylan? And then we get to the Patriots game. He plays so poorly in the Patriots game. He's regressed so much that in order to keep him in the play, to keep his guy in the mix, he had to sacrifice his own play calling duties just to keep him in there. He had to sacrifice his play calling abilities just to keep some semblance of control. Because what they was going to do is get him up out of here. They were going to just say, we're going to strip you of play calling, and then we're going to tell you to play Shedeur. So they took the bye week. He said, no. He wills to Jimmy. All right, look, I get it. He's not playing that well right now. Give us the bye week. If you want to make a change, let Tommy call the plays. Tommy is a hot coordinator. He's probably going to take a college job somewhere else. He'll come in. He's going to have it ready to get cooked up. Let's just go ahead, and I'll give up play calling, and we'll see how it works this week. Then during the week of the Jets game, we come to our events that we had with DePodesta. DePodesta looks around and says, I can't survive 2 rebuilds. I can't survive 2 rebuilds. Because now people are questioning it and having questions. See, DePodesta thought he was cute the first time with the rebuild, right? But now he's looking around and the landscape ain't so sweet. Always remember this. Corporate America, it's always better to get out 2 months earlier than 3 months late. It's always easy to get out 2 months earlier than 3 months late. He dusted his resume off. He dusted that career builder off. He was on monster.com. He was on Indeed. He got on his LinkedIn and he started firing out them emails. He said, right now, I'm already, put a 1 in the chat if you say it's always easier to get a job if you got a job. If you know something about that. It's always easier to get a job when you got a job. He said, I'm going to let him know. Yeah, my heart. You know, I'm a baseball guy at heart. I'm a baseball guy at heart. I just want to get back to baseball. Really? Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up, my G. He put that resume in. And the reason he did it was because he knew that his numbers and his data was wrong. All of the data has been wrong. The fact that you drafted Dillon Gabriel in a top 100 pick, wrong. By the way, we have something to corroborate that. Let's talk about this. Courtesy of me, right? I don't think I got courtesy. It's just a screenshot. Connors Rogers, right? He's a NFL draft scout. It feels like Shedeur case is kind of a waste of time. I've watched their offense with Dillon Gabriel. You can't live in the NFL that way. He also goes on to say, how could you mess up an evaluation that much when everybody in the world had this man as a 6th, 7th round pick, but you're fixated? He said the draft grade should be switched. The evaluation was wrong. Kevin Stefanski's system is wrong. Their thought process on keeping Shedeur Sanders off the field has been wrong. The way they go about drafting free agents is wrong. They can't find linemen. They can't get the right people. They have no offense. And you've been here since 2016 and you've been cooking and you ain't done nothing. And now, what I told you, I'm the only one who told you this. Don't be a Johnny come lately. I told you this. I said the quarterback's in 26. The quarterback's in 26. I told you what it wasn't in 26. Now, I think it's funny that it's a lot of people who ain't said nothing about no quarterbacks. Where is the mock drafts at, people? Where are the mock drafts at? I need to see them. Because you got that evaluation wrong. Because what's evident is they see in 2026, the quarterbacks that they thought were going to be good are all going back to school. The quarterbacks that they thought were nice are garbage. And now it's a new batch of quarterbacks that they like, but they're one-year wonders. They've been doing it for 4, 5, 6 games. And now they even understand that we've missed so much. Even if we draft another quarterback, even if we draft that quarterback, we ain't got no receivers to go around them, no linemen under contract, and our cap penalties is crazy. We can't trade Myles Garrett. Deshaun Watson still has to be on the team. And you still talking about Jamari Thrash. So given all of those things, I know it took us a long time to get here. He didn't need the band to play to know the Titanic was sinking. You know why? He built the Titanic. He knew where it was vulnerable at. He knew where he could be in problems with, or where the weak spots in the blueprint was, because he helped build it. And he jumped ship. And guess what? Now Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are fighting for the first life raft. Andrew Berry has made the calculus. My quickest way out of this thing is a lottery ticket. And that lottery ticket is Shedeur Sanders. That was cold. That was cold. That was cold. You ain't got to say nothing. Hey, listen, I know it's early for some of them. Let me drink a little coffee. You ain't got to say nothing. I know it ain't no videos. I know a couple people might be bored. Yeah. Hey. But you ain't got to say nothing. I get it. I get it. Let's talk about this. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. The perfect storm is setting up for Shedeur Sanders. Think about the timeline of events that have taken place. The guy who is in charge of analytics, the guy who is in charge of saying who he thinks is the best quarterback that you should get taken, is no longer in the building. So all those people who value supercomputer-like data and quick processing. And oh my goodness, he's so accurate, processing, getting in and out of the huddle. Those people that said that nonsensical crap about getting in and out of the huddle, what good does getting in and out of the huddle do if you can't find nobody on the football field? Or you can't see past the huddle? It ain't the huddle he got to worry about, it's the line of scrimmage. I need you to get in and over the line of scrimmage. Maybe I'm just an old football guy. So he's gone. All that analytics, that's gone. And the thing that happens when the hand of the king is gone is that the king starts making decisions for himself. He starts going to the games and he starts seeing all those empty seats. He has to watch on national TV as you struggle against teams like the Jets, who just basically said they want to tank. We'll tell you why when we get back a little later in the show. We tell you why this could be the beginning and the end. We can get to that. You see what I'm saying? But when you're the hand of the king and you're gone now, it's every man for himself. And now the king is looking around. He's looking around, hearing people say, "We need Shedeur." And behind the scenes, the propaganda starts to wear off a little bit. He starts to think to himself, why am I listening to these people anyway? Why am I listening to these advisors? And why am I even listening to this head coach? He starts to go back and realize, well, hold on, let me go back and watch when he was playing, because I've heard he's so terrible now that I've even forgotten that he was actually good. Trade deadline come and go. No Shedeur Sanders trades. You think that's a coincidence? Shedeur Sanders is a lottery ticket. Even if let me just give y'all something. I'm speaking just from hypotheticals here. You want to get away from the Deshaun Watson move, right? All that guaranteed money can't move off of him. You can't trade Myles Garrett because it's cap hit either. So stop writing those articles. But you know what you can do? You can make Myles Garrett extremely happy by playing Shedeur Sanders, because guess what? He would love to see him play. He's talked about how every single week he comes in and he goes right by the coach's office and Shedeur is in there. Denzel Ward, woo. He likes what he's seeing from Shedeur Sanders. And if you are Jimmy Haslam, I'm not advocating you play anybody just because you want to sell tickets. But it wouldn't be the first time it happened. If you're telling me the Denver Broncos used a first-round pick on Tim Tebow and played him multiple years. Hold on, let me bring that back. The Broncos drafted Tim Tebow, and he was the worst thrower of the football that we have seen maybe ever. And he went in the first round. So you're telling me Shedeur Sanders is worse than Tim Tebow? He's worse than Zach Wilson? He's worse than Josh Rosen? He's worse than the kid from Buffalo. What's his name? Emmanuel? He's worse than Johnny Manziel. See, the problem that you guys have is you refuse to critique what Shedeur is and he isn't. The only thing that you can say is, oh, he runs backwards. I see Dylan Gabriel running backward every week. He's not ready. Well, I watch the games every Sunday, and Dylan Gabriel is obviously not ready. But I think it's funny that you refuse to speak or say his name. You won't talk about what he's doing on the field. You won't talk about the lack of explosive plays. You won't even talk about it. You only juxtapose and say, it's because I'm keeping Dylan Gabriel in the game only because Shedeur isn't ready. But what you don't understand is this. We're done arguing with you. The work is already done. The work is already finished. The dominoes are already falling. You can jump up and down and scream, not ready, not ready, not ready, not ready, not ready. But guess what? The moves behind the scenes already told you what's going to happen. You might have stopped screaming that when Joe Flacco got traded, when DePodesta walked out the building last week, when Kevin Stefanski turned over that play calling. You might as well stop saying that when that happened. Because ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm going to find you and take it slowly. Shout out to the Fugees. Ready or not, that's the new motto. Here we come. You can't hide. We can't hide. And guess what it's turning out to be? The reason why it's looking good for Shedeur Sanders is because Dylan Gabriel, he's got a couple of weeks. He got about 8 quarters. If he played bad in this game against the Jets team, he might got another start. And guess what? When he get that start at home against the Ravens, you know what that crowd gonna look like? You know what that crowd gonna be booing? You think that while Lamar Jackson is tap dancing all the way around against the Ravens? And the thing that really helps Shedeur Sanders, I tell a lot of people this all the time. I tell people all the time, I don't want Shedeur playing in this offense. I don't want Shedeur playing in this offense. I don't want Shedeur playing with Kevin Stefanski. Well, guess what? Kevin Stefanski ain't even calling the plays no more. You say, well, how do you know Tommy Rees? How do you know Tommy Rees is going to be any better? I don't know he's going to be no better. But here's what I do know. Tommy Rees is auditioning for jobs. When you're an offensive play caller and you get an opportunity to call plays, you got 7 to 8, 10 plays tucked away that say, when I get my doggone shot, I'm going to cook. You don't think when he gets Shedeur Sanders in there, he ain't going to be calling the best stuff he got because he won a job. Florida job is open. Penn State job is open. Huh? Big LSU job is open. You don't think he's trying to come in and show what he can do? So now you don't even have to worry about Kevin Stefanski calling trash plays. If you Shedeur Sanders, all you got to do is get your rehab and be cool and sit and wait for your opportunity. Just like I'm sitting here waiting. And the population sitting here waiting. And the people in the city is sitting here waiting. Guess what? Guess what? I don't got to jump up and down and say, put him in the game tomorrow. Dylan Gabriel's game going to tell us that. His game will dictate. His game will dictate that the people got to move. And when they move, there ain't no going back. Why you think that he sacrificed the play calling ability? That sacrificing the play calling ability is a nice chess move. Kevin ain't stupid. Sacrificing play call gave him another 2 weeks because now he gave him the bye week to put in something specific for the Jets who look like they trying to tank. So that's another opportunity, right? Then if he plays well in that game, they're going to give him maybe another couple of games. And they'll say, well, we got smoked by the Ravens. We got smoked by the Ravens coming up. And the Ravens is just they're a great team. And what did you expect was going to happen? Give them another week because this team, it's an easier game down the road. But the reality of the situation is if they come out here looking too bad, It's the beginning of the end, leading me to my next point. See, this is succession. You know what I'm saying? This is a stream of thought. A Jets loss could be the beginning of the end. Because if Dillon Gabriel can't improve with a bye week and a new play caller, and there's no hand of the king to block Jimmy Haslam from hearing and seeing what's going to happen, it's beginning and the end. Beginning and the end, bro. Because the Jets are a team who traded Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, and have basically said, we want the number one pick. We are trading everybody. We are tearing it down. They've told you that. So if you come in as the Cleveland Browns off a bye with a new play caller that we hope is going to give us some juice, and you still can't put no points up, that's all we need to see. That's all we need to see. There is no sense in coming on television programs and pulling up, talking about, I don't think he's played that bad. Statistically, I'm not even pulling the stats up for you. You know, statistically, he's the worst quarterback in the league. See, here's what you got to start doing. Here's what you got to start doing. You got to start being like this. I'm not wasting my breath on you, bro. What kind of crazy work is that? You think I'm about to sit here and argue with you about who's ready and who ain't ready to go when this dude is out here throwing meatball subs, slinging the meatball subs up? Come on, man. People is already really starting to see the worst thing in the world is coming back against the Ravens with them seats empty, them orange seats, looking like you 2-7. Looking like you're 2-7. And they booing. They got chants going. You know the microphones pick up everything. And now Kevin Stefanski, when that happens, he can't even hide from it. He don't got the Denny's menu he could put in front of his face and act like he concentrating on calling plays because he ain't doing that no more. So he going to have to stand there with all his face open, all his emotions just right there in front of the whole stadium, looking around, being awkward, watching his team get beat to sleep with people chanting stuff, calling for people just booing, doing all kind of stuff. And even worse, what if the stadium's just half empty? You see, the Jets is the beginning of the end. You can't lose to a team that this is the only only winnable games that you got left, right? You only got a winnable couple of games left on the schedule like that. But it goes back to Jimmy Haslam. You don't think somebody is telling him in his ear, Jimmy, we got a new stadium coming up. The team's not good. Give the people what they want. If you go back to medieval times, the knights and jousting tournaments, you go back to ancient Rome, gladiator games, you go back, sport has always been known as something that can appease the people. It gives them that competition, a beautiful distraction, we call it. And so anytime there was a famine, anytime there was raids on the city, or people had unrest, religious unrest, sickness, pain, pestilence, sometimes you can't protect your citizens from that. But what you can do is you can give them a distraction. That's how you get to the gladiator games, the jousting games, the festivals. You give the people something to distract them. And what somebody is telling them, it says, remember, go back and watch Baker Mayfield and remember how powerful hope is. Remember how powerful hope is, that the future is going to be better than it is today. We've been selling it in this country for years. It ain't changed in 400 or 500 years. Still selling hope. But it's a powerful drug. And if I'm looking around and I know this team ain't no good, they're asking him, why would you keep trotting him out there? Jimmy, you drafted him. Why is there this adversarial relationship? Everybody on the Cleveland Browns, you're paying. You drafted Dillon Gabriel. If he turns out to be good, he's your guy. But you also drafted Shedeur Sanders. Some would add at a much discounted price with a tremendous upside. Better player, better tools, better skills. And might I add, last but not least, he has a massive fan base. What if our goal was to convert his fan base to our fan base? Now, just bear with me, Jimmy. Just bear with me. Just let me talk to you real quick. If the quarterback that you got in the 5th round is more skilled than the guy in the 3rd round, he has a backstory. He has the sales. He has the charisma. If you propped up a 3rd round quarterback, what's stopping you from propping up a 5th round one? I mean, you're 2-7. We could be the only 2-7 team that gets flexed to 4 o'clock games because people are pulling up. We could only be the only 2-7 team that's much watched TV across this country. We could be the only 2-7 team where people, politicians, rappers, welders, lawyers, TV stars, everybody, they tune in. Here's the numbers, Jimmy. Here's how many jerseys he sold. Let's go back and look at these Colorado games. Why is Colorado on TV every week? Huh? It's here for you. And guess what? If he plays well, who reaps the benefits? He's not an opponent. You reap the benefits. So what's the downside? If you could run the ball with Quinshon Judkins for 60 times in a weather storm and win games, why couldn't you do it with him? If the quarterback you got now is gonna throw the ball in the end zone and not look like he knows what he's doing and throw picks, why not do it and still have people actually care about it? And slowly but surely, Jimmy Haslam looks around and says, you know what? You're right. Why have we been doing this to start with? Huh? What are we doing? Hey, Jimmy, you see how many people watch Joe Flacco in Cleveland? Here's the data on that. They're watching Joe Flacco. The Browns fans watch him when he was in Cincinnati. Do you know what they'll do? It's marketing, Jimmy. Listen, let's figure it out. You're losing right now anyway. And the guy who's saying he's not ready, I mean, that sounds keen. The guy he's putting out there is obviously not good or ready or never will be ready. But we're still playing him? No, you need to be a little smarter. And this is I would say the nail in the coffin a little bit right here. Yeah, this is in succession. This is in succession. And this is how it hits. Had a conversation on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Zach Jackson was on. Make sure you go check out that interview. And Zach Jackson is the first one, and I'll give him credit, what I would call the legacy media, the media that covers the beat reporters and cover from outlets. And Zach Jackson has always been on the record, said Dillon Gabriel has not been good. Go back to check that. That interview got like 100,000 views on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Zach Jackson comes in and says, Guys, 2026, it looks like a bust, man. And to give you a little context, we got a little something right here. Right? The Dogs, a Cleveland Browns podcast, says, this is why the Browns really need to see what they have in Shedeur Sanders. The latest mock draft from The Athletic has the Browns taking Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at number 8 overall. If you are going to use a first-round pick on a quarterback, you better be certain the other guy on your roster isn't that dude. In this scenario, you are passing up on Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson to draft the 3rd quarterback in the last 2 years. In this scenario, the Browns are able to land Chris Bell later in the round. While I like Bell as a receiver, there is a talent gap you are forfeiting to select a quarterback early. And you're also taking yourself out of the offensive tackle market in the 1st round. You see, I've been setting this up for a long time, people. You can't just watch the barbershop in one video. You got to watch the whole series. This has been a series from start to finish in succession, chronological order. I've been told it started with the quarterbacks in 26. I eloquently pointed out the flaws of each and every one of those quarterbacks and why they were not the answer. I then told you, let's break down the cap issues with the offensive linemen and how none of those offensive linemen are under contract. Now, let's talk about how the receivers. Every single week, we come up here and we talk about why the receivers ain't this, and the offensive line, and we don't have people, and we don't have parts. And the reason why we're not good, and it's not Kevin's fault, because we don't have playmakers. But in this case, you always making the same mistakes week after week because you are emotional, short-minded, narrow-minded, and you don't look past your own personal bias. Why in the world would I pass over Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson to take a quarterback that has played well for 1 year? You pass on all available blue chip tackles. You pass on the 2 blue chip receivers to go drop down and take worse talent again. You always trying to step down and take lesser talent. You're always trying to not draft in the first again. So you take Chris Bell. He cool. But the last time you took a Bell, it was David, and he don't even play no more in the 3rd round. So again, you complain about not having Jamar Chases. You complain about not having Justin Jeffersons. You complain about the fact that you don't have some of the blue chip receivers and no tackles. But yet and still, when you get an opportunity to be on the board, you continuously go do the same stupid things that you've done now. Now think about it. Think about it. I just gave you a whole hour of talking about how stupid the quarterback competition was. And with this scenario, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go into next season with no linemen. You're going to go into this season with a receiver that is not as good as the other guys. And you're going to go in with another quarterback. Now you have Dillon Gabriel, you have Shedeur Sanders, and you have Ty Simpson. And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to have another quarterback competition. We're gonna have another quarterback tracker where we check out whose reps are where and what we're doing. And then guess what? Shedeur Sanders still won't get reps. At that point, Dillon Gabriel won't even get reps. They may let him play for a little bit. And then arbitrarily, Ty Simpson will go in the game because guess why? He's a 1st-round pick. And now Dillon Gabriel will just become the Shedeur Sanders. Dillon Gabriel won't have a leash because Ty Simpson, they'll write the narrative just like we did. We'll write the narrative about why Ty Simpson is so much better than the other two, about why he's so different, about why he's so smart, and he might be all of those things. But you are putting him in the same position that you put all the other ones in. Who is Ty Simpson thrown to? Who's blocking for him? And who's controlling the offense? All things the same. Kevin Stefanski, nobody and nobody. But you never learn. So let's go to my man and bring it back again. Zach Jackson is the first person to pull up and say, you fools. If you was smart, if you was any intelligent, when Dillon Gabriel flames out, you give Shedeur Sanders every opportunity to be the dude. You put every resource into him that you put into Dillon Gabriel. You pull every lever possible to make sure that this guy gets a leeway to get to where you need to go and that he gets an opportunity. And if he shows potential and promise, your quarterback in 26 is already on the damn roster. Your lottery ticket is already there. The guy with the talent, the skill set, the upside is already there. And then what you can do is take Cardinal Tate and the best available lineman and cook. Now Jerry Jeudy don't have to be the only receiver. You then go back and you get back into that round and you go get me some more receivers and more linemen. And then you know what you got in 2026? Dillon Gabriel, the guy you drafted that you saw could be a good backup, is there. Shedeur Sanders, the person you think has some upside, you give him an offseason, you give him a playbook, you let him throw to his receivers, you let him develop a rapport, you actually let him practice and not throw the trash cans, you actually let him throw to receivers, you actually let him do something, you actually put your arm around him and say, hey, we believe in you. You can actually give him ability to show what he can do. And playing preseason games? Wow. And then you say, let's see what he can do in 26. By the way, if something happens, Deshaun Watson is still on your roster. And by the way, I don't care what y'all talking about. Dillon Gabriel ain't better than Deshaun Watson. Oh, see, here you go, G. Bush. With Deshaun Watson, they go to likability. Let's just be clear. You tell me. You let me know. Who better, Dillon Gabriel or Deshaun Watson? Let's go, chat. Let's go. Oh, see, we getting kind of quiet. If I'm paying somebody $100,000 million, huh? And I got to put somebody in if Shedeur get hurt or something happen, I'm putting Deshaun Watson in the game. What are you talking about? But a lot of people don't like Deshaun Watson. It's based on two things. Our fan base will tolerate you taking L's. They'll tolerate you not being good. But what they don't tolerate is the narrative based with the allegations. That's one. Two, Deshaun Watson got all that money, got all that bag. And three, Deshaun Watson is looked at in this city as the person who was the replacement for Baker Mayfield, who was already very popular here. That's what they're looking at. It's not question. It's no question, bro. There ain't no question. Deshaun Watson and Dillon Gabriel ain't even on the same playing field. That's people's feelings in a way. That's people's bias all on. See, let's get it real. I don't even want to see his face. Why not, man? You that aggressive? Come on now. Stop playing with me. This is why you get in trouble, G. Bush. But I don't really got to argue with you like that, though. So the quarterback in 26 is there. Chilling on your doggone roster. with a viable 2-3 options as a backup. And guess what? You guys, based on nothing, have already sold yourself that you're going to get another quarterback because you've never really wanted to see him play anyway. You see where this is going? All this, like, you never really said, you never really wanted to see him play. Like, you're willing, you think, I don't understand how you think that that smart that you say he's not ready, he's not ready, he's not ready. But then Dylan Gabriel was ready. And then the next guy you draft next year, he'll be ready though. But we didn't see it though, because if he was that guy, they would have put him on the football field. Let me just debunk that really quickly before we get to your super chats here. If you believe that winning, if you believe winning is the thing that motivates people, and it's the only thing that counts, you're either naive or on the payroll. When you sit here and say, oh, if they really wanted to win, they would play him. No, they wouldn't. If I feel like I can win, if I think I can win with either quarterback, if I think I got the infrastructure around me to win with either quarterback, and I know that this year don't really matter like that because we don't have the roster, we trying to build it out, why do you think that I would put a guy in that I didn't co-sign over the dude that I put my neck on the line for, that I handpicked? Let me just get back. Hold on. Let me just get, because I don't know if a lot of people had other jobs, and I keep, and I'm not knocking people, but there's a lot of groupthink that goes on in the media. It's a lot of groupthink that goes on when it comes to players or whatever the case may be. But I literally had jobs. I literally had multiple. I done done this for a long time, but I done spent more work in the real world than I do now. Do you think when it comes to who gets promoted in jobs? See, here's the cool thing about this. With this, I can say, if you want to put me up against somebody else in this industry, right? I can say I get more views than you, or I get more subscribers than you, or I get more this, I got more fans, I got this, I do more stuff, right? And you can argue the numbers or whatever the case may be. But when you are in a job, it's completely arbitrary. What's the difference between one manager and another manager with the same numbers? Oh, I know you. Maybe I'm just confused. When you get to office politics, that's why they call it office politics. Do you know that the people that's going to the golf outings, they got a little inside track on that job? The people whose uncle knows an uncle, people that's in the same fraternity, people that in the same neighborhood, people that's in the same circumference, people that's in the same situation, people that have the same hobbies, the same background, the same culture, the same. If it's between one person and another person, all things being equal, why would you say it comes down to who's better? Better is subjective. Competent is subjective. Ready is subjective. It's all in the eyes of the beholder, just like beauty, just like opinions. So if it's subjective, you can't stand on not ready. What does not ready mean? When you dating somebody and you've been dating them for 4 or 5 years, it's a lot of people out there that's fine with sleeping in the same bed, fine with having children, fine with having bills in each other's name, fine with going up Halloween and Christmas and Easter with one another, fine with going to church with one another, fine with doing all kind of stuff, getting matching tattoos. But when it comes time to get married, they're not ready. See, this is the problem. I'm sorry. No, please don't listen. If I didn't mean that, I didn't mean it. I'm jumping off into something else. I'm sorry. But the only reason I'm mentioning that is because I was talking about myself. See, I ain't afraid to talk about me. I ain't afraid to talk about my shortcomings. Now, I ain't going to point you out. See, at one point in time, I was that person. I was cool with a lot of stuff. I knew I shouldn't have been with them folks. I was cool. I was cool on a lot of stuff, and I was ready for a lot of other things that benefited me, that may have felt good, that was felt good to my flesh. But when it came time for that level of commitment, all of a sudden, I wasn't ready. That means you didn't have the conviction. I didn't, what do you mean? I wasn't ready for the commitment. I wasn't ready for the responsibility. I wasn't ready for what comes with that. You see? So when people talk about ready and talk about if he was, it would be, your argument is circular. Your argument is circular. Which came first, the chicken or the egg, bro? Because if I'm going to sit here and talk about the readiness of people being ready to play, some people ain't never going to be ready. Some people ain't never going to be ready. Because they done already made up in their mind what they feel about the person. I'm only speaking from, don't get mad at me. I'm only speaking from my opinion. Don't take yourself out of it. Let me tell you me. So I know about what it means to be ready. You make the decision. I'm with somebody. They good enough for all that other stuff, but guess what? I ain't ready for that. I don't understand why y'all can't understand it and why you can't get it. But what my job is to do is, my job ain't here to argue with you. It's to educate the people. My job is to educate them why things happen and why it jumps off. So when we talk about this situation, I chill out and move around. You can have what you want to have. You say what you want to say. But the reality of the situation is, what's going to keep you on the field is your play. And what God got for you, can't nobody touch it. You can be mad all you want to. You can be salty. What you going to be mad for? But you have to ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, why are you so against this? Why are you, and what inside you makes you get to a point where you all balled up and angry? You notice I don't get all balled up and angry when Dylan Gabriel is playing. You know why? If he plays good, he'll keep playing. If he don't play good, he'll be out of the game. But let me ask you a question. You and I, we aren't the same. Why does your face crunch up? Why can't you say and just talk your talk? The truth will set you free. Because somebody said somebody had a bad interview, you know what? Give me them people. I used to go into my interviewing process and tell folks all the time, because they was giving all the good people to the other teams. I had to start downplaying my hires. I don't know, man. I might think about taking him. I might take him. I mean, I don't know. He answered a couple questions that was kind of strange, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to think when I get to the crib. You know why I was doing that? I said I can't get too excited. Because really, underneath, I'm like, give me that dude. I like that dude. But if I get too happy, they're going to take him and put him on another team. You know, they don't give me nobody. That's how I got to downplay it. You folks don't ever want to stand on your own. I'm okay with it. I stand on I'm in my own evaluations. Just think about it. What somebody told you done done messed up your whole mindset. Done messed up your whole mindset. Well, what I was told. You still getting told stuff? It's the problem with the world right now. Sheep, people telling you. I trust myself. I trust my eyes. And I trust that I didn't say this for 6 months. You let me know where I've been wrong at. Let's get to the chat. Yes. Here we go. Time to get to your chats. One of the funnest parts of the day. We appreciate you guys. Again, if you cannot afford the super chat, don't worry about it. Just put a like and a comment in the section. That helps our interaction rate. We want you guys to be interactive with this thing. We appreciate every single person. I can't get to every single comment, but trust and believe. People do know I'll be in the comment section. I stay in the comment section wherever I'm at. So I appreciate you guys. So continue to support. Hit a like and subscribe. And just a like, it helps us. It helps that content get to where we need to go. All right. Let's start with Raptor Jr. 702 yards, 35th in the NFL, 5 touchdowns, 32nd in the NFL, 2 picks, 37th place QBR, 26.3, 31st place. Kevin can't run for this. Wrist alert. You can't run it. This the figure 4 leg lock. Can't run from this. By the way, he can't run no more. He ain't calling the plays. Ain't it funny how things change? In the words of the great 50 Cent, damn, homie. Last week you was the man, homie. What the happened to you? Kirk Davis. It ain't a Disney cartoon, but my top 3 cartoons movie when I was a kid: Land Before Time, Small Soldiers, and Static Shock. Listen, let me tell you about this, Kirk Davis. My aunt and my mom took us to watch The Land Before Time. And when Ducky was in, when they was talking about when that comet hit and them dinosaurs died, it scarred me, bro. Messed me all the way up. Messed me all smooth all the way up. By the way, a Goofy movie. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Boy, Tevin Campbell was cooking on that boy. That Goofy movie. Hey, they need to cut. Listen. By the way, check out Top 5. We do Top 5 lists. If you're a member, it's a great show. Me and my brothers do a Top 5. We did the Top 5 cartoons. We did all that. Make sure you go check it out. But the Goofy movie was crazy. Appreciate you, my man Kirk Davis, for being a member as well. Deshaun Watson, 199. We drafted Johnny Manziel because of a crack. Shout out to Deshaun Watson in the chat, by the way. Allegedly. Miss Bell, got my t-shirt 71 this month. Thank you, G. Bush. Thank you as well, Miss Bell. We appreciate you. Appreciate you. I told you we be working, man. Shout out to the shipping and receiving department. Is that you too? You work in shipping and receiving? Yeah, man, I owe her a lot of money. She works shipping, receiving, digital, IT, tech support. Got to have a good one with you. Oh, I forgot to say. I'm so sorry. Babe, can you get me the magazine? Can you give me that? Hold on. We got to get to something. I appreciate all of you being here. This was really cool for me. I got to shout out to everybody in Triumph Magazine, right? I got to shout out everybody. This is a Black-owned magazine, and they did a feature piece on me and gave me the cover of Triumph Magazine. And they came to my house. They came to my studio. We shot in locations all around the city of Cleveland. And I'm going to tell you what, thank you so much for doing that, because they did a great job with the story. It told my story. It told me my passion for the city. And this just came out. I got it. I was waiting for it, but I'll show you, man. How great is that? Look at that. This is crazy, man. Shout out to Triumph Magazine for giving me the cover of this. They had it, and we did it a little bit ago. They did a great piece on it. I just want to show you just a little bit, because I gotta shout them out, because this stuff to me is wild to me, man. Look, I mean, it's just they did a whole photo shoot with me, man. A whole thing. Shout out to those guys. They did a really good job. They even have my wife in here and talked about how important it is to have support in your community and what it means to be representation or be representative of what's going on in the community. So I want to thank them so much for doing it. I don't know when it's going to come out, but they gave me a little sneak preview and a little thing of it. But shout out to them. This is a really high quality magazine, man. Shedeur Sanders was on the cover of it last month, and I want to thank them for doing that. So I appreciate Triumph Magazine. Make sure you guys support that. It's excellence in Cleveland's African American community. So I want to thank them for doing that, and I appreciate it. Oh, here you go. Thanks. So let's see. Fat Tommy super stickers. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Stelmo Fudd, G. Bush, they not really here for the Browns. They just want the free lunch. Oh, man, get that free lunch, man. Kurt Davis became a YouTuber. Thank you so much, Kurt. We appreciate you. Right? Trey Mack, had to pay my little coins. I asked FB Teams this, and I want to get your opinion, G. Bush. Has Dylan Gabriel made any throw similar to Shedeur Sanders? None. Zero. We do film breakdown. Me and Tyvis, we not only show you the throws he's missing, we tell you we haven't seen one throw yet that even approaches those throws. And the most disingenuous part about this is that when people get on here and try to act like that game did not happen, it's gaslighting at the highest degree. It is. The fact that you've omitted that from the record, like it just didn't happen. They refuse to talk about it. They refuse to show highlights of it. They refuse to even mention it. The only thing you hear is he's running backwards. And they act like running backwards against the Rams, trying to make plays with guys that are working in the workforce, not even in the NFL right now, is worse than 2 interceptions and a safety in the end zone. It's look, man. Tell me without telling me you just don't like him. Tell me without telling me. Like you can't be serious with that. Like 5 sacks is equivalent to 2 turnovers and a safety. Points were given away. Massive turnover-worthy throws. He was sacked 6 times against Pittsburgh. We mentioned none of that, but we still going back all the way to the Rams game. It's not. I mean, come on, people. Like that's not even a intellectual argument that you can even have, right? But the fact that you act like we just didn't see it is crazy work to me. And people who are detractors of Shedeur Sanders do it every time they talk about him. They'll say he's not throwing on time. How is he not throwing on time? And I just saw him throw 3 footballs through. What are you talking about? He's not throwing on time. Like, I don't understand. What are you talking about? It's on tape. It's there for you to see. The highlights is available. It's right there. Stop telling me what somebody else is telling you, but you don't got a name to it. This is my problem with people. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. 0. You know why? I let it be known when I pull up to these channels with my film work that I'm doing my homework. So guess what? I don't need you to tell me what you heard from somebody who I don't even know or care about, because I know what I've done. I know what I watch. I know the levels in work I put in. So don't tell me that your source is bigger than what I'm doing myself. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I can believe anybody. I can work with anybody that put the level. If you're watching tape and you doing film breakdowns and you doing everything you can to educate yourself on the game of football and you formulate your opinion around that, I ain't got no problem with you. I will shake your hand and we can have an intellectual debate based on what we both saw. But if you're not doing that, and you telling me what somebody else done told you, and nobody even knows who this Casper the Friendly Ghost person is, I'm not gonna have no argument with you. I'm gonna just keep it pushing. Like, man, I ain't got no time to be arguing with you. That's little kid stuff. That's little kid stuff. I got a best friend. Who your best friend? You can't see him. He's invisible. What? I got a girlfriend. Who your girlfriend? He don't go to this school. You're right. T-Storm VA 2012. See you, Auntie Redskins Commanders fan. Here for 12. I survived 20 years of bad ownership with Dan Snyder. The Browns' history of dysfunction is criminal. It's of the highest levels. It's of the highest level. But I'm gonna tell you what, DePodesta is up out of here. Ooh, change is coming. Change is on the horizon. Change is moving. In a word of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Aslan is on the move. Oh man, it'd be references. Maybe somebody got it. Somebody got it somewhere. Cash Money. Shout out to Cash Money. By the way, they lost the verses. I thought they had better songs. I think No Limit had more heart. Shout out to P&M. If you train someone since April and he still ain't ready today, you should be fired. Because how can Shedeur not be ready when Prime's his dad? Shaking my head. You know how my thing is, if you the architect of the offense that you done created and characterized and created the routes, the combinations, everything that goes into it, if that's your offense and you had to give up your offense 2 years in a row, last year to Ken Dorsey and this year to Tommy Rees, well, are you ready? You can't even say ready out of your mouth. Obviously, you weren't ready or competent. So why would I sit here and take your word about who's ready on the offense when you have been so bad, you've had to turn over your baby? Don't no mother give their baby away. I don't care how bad they is. You ever been to parent-teacher conferences? You know your kid is bad, but you still go in there. You ain't gonna be so, hey, listen, I know my kid is bad, but you ain't gonna be talking about him like that. You got one more. But you didn't turn over the play calling and we talking about who he feel is ready. I think that's funny. Fresh Brews, thank you, my man, for becoming a member. We appreciate all our new members. We appreciate you there. Thank you so much for pulling up on us. Cameron Williams, the one thing G. Bush is going to do is take a jab at corporate America on a stream. I'm independent media. There are things that come good with corporate structure, but there are inherent bad things about corporate structure. They view people as numbers. There is corruption. There is, there's inequality in wages. There is, something to be said about how they go about disseminating and doing things in the environment, what they do in the community. So I'm just keeping it honest with you, bro. And I mean, the NFL don't get more corporate than they get. It is what it is. That's why independent media is important, because you need the ability to say how you feel about something. You need to be able to talk and speak truth to power without people being like, I don't know, you why did you say that, or you shouldn't. Nah, that's the job of the press, right? Freedom of press, right? It's in the Constitution, right? Like, people always want to talk about the Constitution, but when you start to get down to something, get uncomfortable. Oh, I don't know, you should have said that. Nah, bro. We don't keep it real. We got to. And by the way, I'm still waiting for the comment of where I've been wrong. Where I've been wrong. I mean, right now, people, for all that he not ready stuff, Shedeur Sanders is still backup quarterback again this week. I keep them coming. There it is. For all that not ready nonsense, for all that, why did he go back to see his father during homecoming? Shedeur Sanders will be the Browns quarterback number 2 on Sunday. For all that extra, you know what it is. Just letting y'all know. Just letting you know. Matter of fact, let me just throw the picture up. Yeah, you know, he laughing. Let me just put the laughing emoji up. We'll do some chats underneath it. Yeah. By the way, this is him congratulating Dillon Gabriel coming off the football field. You see any hate? You see any malice, contempt? You see any of that? See, once again, if I didn't put it out, if I wasn't speaking to it, you know, he's not sitting beside him on the bench. Is he? You know, it's not fair to Dillon Gabriel. I see him being a supportive teammate. Is what I see. But you know, we're gonna see. Greg Castellanos. Is it possible AB didn't speak because the ball was in motion for DePodesta to leave during the bye? Oh yes, of course. Of course. I completely agree with that. I completely agree that was already in the move. Remember, when you're in corporate America and you're an executive, not only do I need to co-sign the move you want to make, but I need 2-3 months in advance so that we not understand what we need to do with our corporate hierarchy. If you're a regular associate, you still got to give a 2 weeks notice when you're quitting. But let you be in upper level management. We need some weeks, bro. Because you tied in at that level. When you tied in at that level, you tied in at all the levels. It's the reason that he can seamlessly move from football to baseball. You notice that there's no such thing as qualifications once you get to a certain level. Same stuff you be disqualified for. You know, you couldn't get that off. We be on TV sometimes on WKYC, but can I go knock on the door at WKYC and say, hey, listen, I want to be on The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless soap opera. I want to get that off. I'll be on TV sometimes. They're like, sir, do you have any acting? No. But when you get to a certain level, you can seamlessly move from here to here and ain't no problem. For you to be able to do that, you got to be connected, and to stay connected, you got to play the game. So they already knew he was rolling out. Already knew it. We just cooking. Winter is coming, and the night is full of terrors. G. Bush using Valyrian steel. Yeah, Valyrian steel is different. That dragon glass, man. You know, winter is coming. And in Ohio, they done moved the clocks back. It's getting dark at 5 o'clock. So it's getting real spooky around them offices. It's cold outside. It's dark when you wake up, dark when you go to sleep. Start to hear some rustling in the leaves out in the good forest. And pretty soon it's snowing every single day. The dire wolves seem to be restless outside, howling at the moon. You know, they say the children of men are walking around out there in the forest. They're looking for a sacrifice. Potent 76, #1 sports show in Cleveland. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Jamie Newfer. Dylan will get 7 games. Shedeur will get 6. The 5th round won't get a bigger runway than the 3rd rounder. It's that simple. Draft capital does matter. Here's what I'm going to say with you, Jamie. Why you think he sacrificed? Here's the thing that happened, Jamie. Kevin Stefanski sacrificed his play calling to get to that number of games that you talked about. Because he's playing so poorly that he's going to play himself out of that position. So the only way that Kevin Stefanski can buy him some more time was to give himself as a sacrificial lamb to say, I'm going to turn play calling over. And when he did that, he's going to say, okay, I'm going to do that in the bye week. It's a Jets week. If he balls during the Jets week, it give him more time, because you are correct. The plan was all along to give Dillon Gabriel more games than Shedeur Sanders. You can't have the guy you handpicked play so poorly that now Shedeur Sanders is playing 8-9 games. That don't look good, right? That the optics of that is looking crazy. So you are correct in a sense, but the problem you have, Jamie, is this. Kevin Stefanski, with every loss, with every succession, and whatever battle, or every battle. See, this is like, listen, in the Game of Thrones thing, the Baratheon needed Melisandre. She put all her little magic on him. And as long as he was winning wars and winning battles, he was still in the game. But the second he start losing men, the second he stopped making sacrifices, the second he stopped really winning them battles out there, he was never in contention after that. You can't compete with dragons. You can't compete with the dragons. You didn't have the most money. You're not a Lannister. You don't have all the fields. You don't have all of the great food that people need to work with. So what are you going to do? And it's the same case with this situation with Kevin Stefanski. Once you start losing games, you lose the ear of the king. You lose some of that influence. The influence started to go when Flacco got moved and you didn't know it. The influence started to move when you said Bailey Zappi was going to be the backup quarterback, and it didn't happen because they said, no, we're not doing that. And then when Andrew Berry said, I ain't even got to speak to what I'm doing. I ain't speaking to nobody during the week. So the Jets game is the Battle of Waterloo. It's what we going to do. It's Gettysburg. We're going to figure out today, either the war is going to go this way or it's going to go this way. And if you play bad enough against a Jets team that's terrible, it's going to be hard to come back from that. I'm just letting you know. But I appreciate the super chat, though, because I do agree with half of what you said. My concern is Dillon Gabriel played good in 2 games. Dillon Gabriel plays like crap for 2 games. Will Shedeur get time to prove he is him? That the guy, the only one legendary. Well, here's how I do. I don't wish or hope. Here's the reality. Somebody behind the scenes is saying, Ken Carmen said it best. Is people going to jump up and down that he played good against a Jets team that's trying to tank? The same way nobody jumped up and down and said, oh, he was balling against the Miami Dolphins. No. Like, there's 2 different tracks here. Like, this ain't old school whatever. This isn't old school, hey, as long as we won and the quarterback still struggled, we can't talk about the quarterback that week. No, we're not on that type of time. They could take an L and he could play horribly. He could play terribly and they win, and we still going to be like, nah, you still need to make a change. Let's not conflate the 2 things. I'm waiting for a great game that he's played thus far. I'm waiting for one great game. I'm waiting for one good game. I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for the throws. Miss Bell 70 says, Reese has been saying Shedeur was ready for weeks in spite of what Kevin is saying he wasn't. I can't wait to hear who tries to take credit when they see him. Oh, well, listen, you guys won't let him. You guys ain't gonna let it go. Y'all got a long memory. You remind people very quickly about who said what and when, how, where, what. You got a notebook. Cash Money says, I'm from Cleveland, South High. I've never been a Browns quarterback. I've never seen a Browns quarterback come to the hood before Shedeur. If he leaves and wins the Super Bowl, Browns bankrupt. I always told you like this. Like Tony Rizzo said something before too. And Riz been cooking this week. He said, somebody said something about, I can't believe you're talking about a backup quarterback or a 5th round pick so much. And he said, listen, man, don't tell me who I could root for. I've been a Browns fan for 60-something odd years. I root for the Browns and I root for who I want to root for. He's like, I root for Luke Whippler because he played center for Ohio State. I root for who I want to root for. Stop trying to make these mythical mental gymnastics where it's you going to pit me against somebody else. Man, listen, man. If you don't go ahead with somebody, I'm a grown man paying taxes. I told people like this. Listen, what he did for that group of people, I told people he was cool with me. I don't care if he never throw no touchdown passes. He went to the hood where people lost everything, and he pulled up and showed up. He didn't just cut a check. He didn't just pay for stuff. He cut the check, he pulled up, and he gave his time, energy, and effort and was genuine about it. He going to schools, being genuine about it. I care about my community. If he don't throw no touchdown passes, cool. I rock with him as an individual. It is what it is. If he plays poorly, I would say, he plays poorly. But it's time out for people trying to make you, listen, first and foremost, you can't make me choose no side, no way. You don't count like that. And first and foremost, man, for you to question, people questioning your character, my character was solidified before. You know what I had to do to even get here? My character was solidified just to the work I had to put on just to get in here. This ain't my first rodeo. The barbershop been doing this 12 years. So if you came around and think this is controversial, I was the first person talking about you and lost your mind. You talk about kneeling. When they was telling people shut up and dribble, I said, you tell me shut up and dribble. Let me tell you, you might as well call me out my name. Because if you think I'm some your entertainment, the fans we want entertainment. We don't want to hear about the rest of that stuff. Well, listen, don't watch. Nobody care you got no regular job and I have a regular job. I come here for a release. Well, you better go gamble or something. Get you a hobby, bowl, knit, basket weave. But G. Bush ain't gonna be your release from reality so you can do what you want to. We've been doing this. We've been cooking. So people try to tell you, or you can't, bro. Who is you? Who? Yeah. Come on now. Black Playbook. I find it funny. Bo Nick's game is slowly looking like Dylan's. The Oregon NFL Great White Hope pipeline is trash. Well, Justin Herbert is pretty good, though. I'll take him. I will take Justin Herbert. But Marcus Mariota was not good at all. So, that's 3 out of 4. Powers OG Miles was helping Shedeur after practice during the preseason quite often. I never see him do that of all the seasons he's been playing. By the way, like this notion that, he's not putting in the work, he ain't doing this, bro, it's on camera. He has his own media company. He's getting followed with cameras everywhere. And it's pictures of him throwing the ball in the rain. There's pictures of him throwing at John Carroll. There's pictures of him throwing the ball. There's pictures of him getting treatment. People try to make it, oh, well, he's on a plane. Listen, he went there. He pulled up with a doctor. Don't you understand the state-of-the-art facilities? He pulled up. He was in Colorado less than 24 hours. Sorry, guys. I think it's cute. I don't know if I think it's cute or disturbing that you're trying to make an issue out of a person going to see his father who's battling cancer and is a cancer survivor. I don't understand in what world how you can even get that off. Like, I'm going to go see my dad for less than 24 hours after he's battled cancer, and then that's somehow seen as he doesn't care about being the Browns quarterback because he didn't bury himself. Stop it. Frankly, you can't even comment on that. To be truthful, you can't even really get that off. I'm surprised people let you get that off. True life. Mr. Bush, we all want Sanders to play, but let me be honest. Who has actually called the shots for the staff or for the staff, the owner? Hey, look, the owner is always, here's the thing. The owner is always going to be the dude that's going to call the shots. Here's another thing. I've worked in businesses. What billionaire don't call the shots? Billionaires run our government. Billionaires run our financial institutions. Billionaires run our military. Billionaires run our school systems. Billionaires run our farms. Like, I don't understand why they sold y'all so well on the fact that this is, oh my gosh, this is different than regular life. No, billionaires run everything. And what moves them is green, influence, and power. Why would you think any billionaire it has ceded over territory? That's why I'd be laughing and say, you need to just cut the check, Jimmy, and move out of the way and let the other people handle it. And what industry do they do that at? I mean, this is America. Where have you been living at? What billionaire to date has turned over the purse strings, left us alone, and said, here you go. We're going to leave it up to the common man. Really? Really? This is what, really? Emmanuel Johnson, AG, you see the video when Shedeur got drafted and he was on the phone with Barry. Last thing he said was, prove to people who passed on you wrong. And they could keep talking about 5th round picks. And guess what? He's one play away. And by the way, I always tell people like this, we can talk all we want. Never lose fact of this. The common denominator is he has to go prove it. That's always been that's always been the main thing. He got to prove it. Just like Dylan Gabriel got to prove it, or Stefanski or Barry or whoever. He has to prove it. It ain't up to me. I could think you're going to do something, but what? You got to show it. Ms. Bell thought they could break Shedeur Sanders. They portrayed him as something he never was, and he took it. Can't wait for him to make his enemies his footstools. That play on the field. And look, you know, what's the name had the one of my areas of opportunities was holding grudges. I'm a Scorpio at nature, and I used to hold grudges for years, and the Lord been working with me on holding grudges. And he was like, "Hey, you're a born sinner. Mm-hmm. I ain't holding no grudge on you." Dang, that ain't different. He's like, "So what make you think you can hold a grudge? You better than me?" I was like, "Yeah, I might want to go ahead and work on that." So, Shedeur Sanders, you know, as a follower of Christ, you gonna have a level of, and he will, because he's already shown that. You're gonna have a level of inclusion. Yeah, I know a lot of people doubted me, but people gonna doubt you all the time. You know what I'm saying? No hard feeling. No I told you so's. No axes to grind. Just, this is, I just wanted the opportunity to prove myself, and hopefully we continue to win football games, or I continue to play a certain way. You see what I'm saying? It's the grace involved. Because leadership ain't really about people telling people I told you so. Because when you already know, and when God already gave you something, you know in your heart, you don't need nobody else to tell you something when he already done let you know. So your job is leadership is for those that can control their emotions. Leadership is for those individuals that understand that they ain't gonna like you all the time, and that you need allies in the world, and that your nature should be inclusion, not division. That's what leadership is about. And leadership ain't about saying I'm the leader. It's about the way you move and how you gonna get it. And the reason why people follow him and like him is because he's shown that in other places and other stops. He's been graceful in this situation. He's been a good teammate. He's come to talk to people. He did something in community. And when he plays, there's going to be more people and more eyeballs. And then your responsibility even grows even further. But this is a maturity process, and this is something that needs to go take place, because just like all of us, we got shortcomings and we got things that we got to work on. We all got things that we need to have, and we need to look and say, do I need to be better in that area? And so that only comes by fire, trials, and tribulations. You don't never get better by being good. He said it himself. This is the first time in my life I've been away from my family, that I've had people who have been adversarial, and I haven't been able to play. So now I need to find out who I really am as a person, a human, as a man. And those trials and tribulations are what make you ready. That's how you know you're ready. But that readiness is being taken place right now. I know. I don't want to. I ain't listen. I talk. I ain't trying to get preachy. I'm just trying to give you something. You ain't got to take it. Nita says, Shedeur has the most important thing right. He trusts in God's plan for him, because all the terrible narratives, moving the goalposts, coach favoritism, etc., is exhausting just for us as fans. That's why you got to lock in. That's what we call when we say the not ready thing. These are all the things that you go through to get ready. That's the ironic part. All these things are the things you go through to get ready. Because guess what? This is easy. All you got to do is play good a couple games, and people be on the squad. There's a lot of people waiting to jump on the bandwagon. But the thing that you got to understand when you're talking about whether or not he's ready, is how do you deal with losing a game against Patrick Mahomes, an AFC Championship game where you threw an interception that you knew you shouldn't have threw? How do you deal with getting strip sacked or getting sacked and losing some yards in a Super Bowl? How do you deal with an injury, right? Coming back from it. How do you deal with conflict with teammates? Those are the big things. This is easy. It's the start. All you got to do is play a couple of games, ball out. People in Cleveland want to see a winner. They'll be right on the board. But the thing that you need to be really preparing for is what happens when it really hit the fan. Electric Cornbread, help me understand why AB gets so much hate when he consistently drafted super solid young talent. Maybe AB has been held back, Shedeur too. Seems like then wrong fall guy to blame. Well, here's the thing. Andrew Berry is not without faults. Rightly or wrongly, when you move on from Baker Mayfield and Baker Mayfield plays well, people are going to say you had a franchise quarterback. When you trade a lot of picks and guarantee contracts for Deshaun Watson, it looks like that it hasn't worked out, people going to get on you. When you miss on Jed Wills, who was a top 10 pick at offensive line, and he doesn't even get to another contract, he's not in the league, you look crazy, right? When you draft David Bell and Anthony Schwartz in the third round, and those two guys are no longer in the NFL, you look crazy. Not given the fact Puka Nacua was in those drafts. Amon-Ra St. Brown was in those drafts. So you do that, you look crazy. So he does have a nice track record this year of some guys he's drafted, but for the most part, he's had some missed draft classes as well too. Now, the difference between him and Kevin Stefanski is his draft classes looks better than Kevin Stefanski's playbook and offense. All those things are part of what it goes into Andrew Berry and what he's thinking. But one thing that you will say is Kevin Stefanski put his reputation on Dillon Gabriel. If Andrew Berry stakes his reputation on Shedeur Sanders, then who wins? If Shedeur is good, Andrew Berry. Chantel Pitton, if Jimmy didn't pick Shedeur, why did his daughter and grandkids wearing 12 jerseys in Miami? Because he did pick him. He picked him. He's a lottery ticket. All he got to do is be like, so you mean to tell me I got to keep watching this guy play? When I got the lottery ticket I can scratch, give me the lottery ticket. And by the way, DePodesta is out the mix. So it's even a greater chance that they're going to play him. And guess what? Tommy Reese is calling plays, not Stefanski. Funny how things switch up. Sapper Daddy, great breakdown as always, G. What do you believe will be the final shoe to get Shedeur in there or Kevin fired? Well, we kind of went through it. The Jets game could be the beginning of the end because the Jets, it's all about the optics. Y'all got to realize this. It's all about the optics. It's not about the wins or losses. It's about when you got people that are in high places, the first thing people don't want to be looked at is they don't want to look like they looking crazy. Don't be looking crazy out here. You don't want to make people look like fools out here. And the thing that hits you is the Jets are losing on purpose. They traded their best 2 players. You had 2 weeks to prepare for the Jets. 2. And after a certain period of time, they're not going to be Dillon Gabriel, just because he's not, see, right now, Dillon Gabriel is playing not on his merits. It's based on the fact that so many people just don't want to see Shedeur Sanders. Anybody but Shedeur train, I didn't keep it real about that. It's obvious. I don't even need to say nothing because he's playing. If you ask anybody about Dillon Gabriel's play, give them 2 sentences. They'll already pivot from him to Shedeur Sanders. 2 sentences. They can't even stay on Dillon Gabriel's play for more than 2 sentences without going to Shedeur Sanders. That's the problem. That's what's going to get him off the field. And Kevin Stefanski has lost power precipitously throughout this thing. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Because now, what happens? The second Dillon Gabriel is on the sidelines and they have to admit that he wasn't good, that's the nail for Kevin Stefanski. It's done. Because at that point, he's shown you that even if you wanted to get another quarterback, he doesn't know what he's looking at. Even if you wanted to get a quarterback in next year's draft and you pick him, he can't put him in the offense to do anything. His offense, he's an offensive guru. Why would I hire you as an offensive guru, coach, and you didn't give a play call in 2 years in a row? It's already over for Kevin. He's in an incubation period. He just don't know it. He running around sick without no symptoms. Brody's bottom line. The sports pod. Shout out to you, my brother. And by the way, I see what you did right there at the sports pod. Okay, I see you out there. Do your thing, homie. Yeah, I see you. Browns draft 2 wide receivers in the first round and offensive lineman. After that, if Gabriel or Sanders don't work in 26, draft Sanders. And if you hear this, y'all feel free to take this around because you draft me Cardinal Tate, you get me another receiver and some linemen, and Shedeur Sanders got a whole runway for the offseason and is going to get reps and is actually out here able to throw to regular people, not support staff and training staff. Not only will your fan base be excited, not only will your season ticket base be excited, but you will actually have something to look forward to. Hope. And at that point, Kevin Stefanski will be going too. Think about it. Think about it like this. You let me know. Put it in the comment section. Put it in. Somebody tell me somewhere, and I want the detractors to pull up for this one. You telling me a young, I don't even know, even if it's Florida, a young upstart head coach or a coach that's going to be a football coach. Let's just say a football coach. We ain't talking about no analytics. We talk about a football guy. You tell me him as a coordinator or him as a coach. Jim Schwartz still holding it down on the defensive side of the football. Shedeur Sanders with an offseason, new weapons, and retooling the offensive line. Quinshon Judkins with an offseason and training camp. You remember he missed his. Jerry Jeudy, Harold Fanning Jr. after a year under his belt. And a rejuvenated Myles Garrett. Are you serious? Tell me you're not excited about that in 26. Tell me you're not excited about the possibility of you throwing the football to Carnell Tate and the possibility of having an opportunity with a second-year Quinshon Judkins and a new head coach with a new vision and a football. You lying to yourself if you can't get behind that. You lying to yourself. You would rather go with a quarterback with no offensive line, another young, stop. Come on now. Clint, the one, member for a month. I do believe that Jimmy chose 12, and maybe Andrew agreed. Unfortunately, there's a lingering thought in the back of my head that they may not play 12 period because they want to show. Nah. Listen, Clint, hey, change is upon us. If they wasn't going to play Shedeur Sanders, Bailey Zappi would be your backup. If they wasn't going to play Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco would still be on the team. If they weren't going to play Shedeur Sanders, they should have wasted all those reps on Kenny Pickett. If they weren't going to play Shedeur Sanders, why would they strip Kevin Stefanski of play calling? It don't make sense. Patience. By the way, thank you so much for your support for 1 month. Man, I appreciate you holding me down for a month and being a 1 month member. We appreciate you. Kirk Davis. They think they're going to run into a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback. Why not build around the quarterbacks they have a good offensive line and tackles? You preaching. You watch. Kirk, you're going to start to see that more often. Shout out to Zach Jackson. I told him when I spoke to him, I said, what? You the first person I said that. Why ain't nobody else saying that? G. Bush, Deshaun is really the lottery ticket. No, Deshaun is the insurance policy. The lottery ticket is Shedeur Sanders, because if he's good, he gets you out of the Deshaun Watson contract. If the lottery ticket don't work, Deshaun Watson is the insurance policy. All else fails, break glass, put him in the game. Truth ain't true. G. Bush, your commentary is bigly beautiful. Clarity is as a mother. You know what? Shut your mouth. Thank you. Truth ain't truthin'. Kirk, I take Deshaun Watson for 500, please. Hey, let's not get besides ourselves, people. Let's not act like Dylan Gabriel is somehow better than Dylan. Again, in the words of Cigar Sean King, who is elite. Cigar Sean King is different. Dylan Gabriel has never been better than Deshaun Watson at any level. High school, middle school, church, practice, band. He hasn't been better than him at not one point of his life. Ohio Hempin, Z2O. You want to sell PSL? Play Shedeur Sanders. Well, you see some of them prices, them PSL prices. Hey, Jimmy, I know you. Hey, Jimmy. Come on now. First and foremost, I like that gunmetal gray, the browns. That should be your third alternate color. And if you want to sell them PSLs, you got a whole year runway to do so. Season ticket sales will be up 75%. Go ahead and name Shedeur Sanders quarterback in 26. Go ahead. Brazil. Could Shedeur be a bridge in 26, then traded for the 27 draft Arch Manning and Browns hire Manning for an office? I think 12 the franchise. Well, here's the thing. There's only one person that's popular as Arch Manning, and that's Shedeur Sanders, and he's more popular. I mean, Arch Manning is a lottery ticket, but Shedeur Sanders got his fan base is fervent, bro. It's overreaching. It's people that watch this podcast that don't even be Browns fans, and they pull up. Hey, let them know. Hey, if you're in the building right now, 3,675 people in here, hit the like button over 3 different platforms. We on UCSS, we on Barbershop, we on Facebook, and we are on Twitter. Let them know. You think I'm just lying. It's people in here right now that be like, yo, I watch the Cardinals, the Patriots. I watch the Eagles. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I watch the 49ers. I'm down here in New Orleans. I'm a Texans fan. I'm a Titans fan. These folks be everywhere. It's one person, and it's not ain't that many that's higher profile than Arch Manning. And one of them is Shedeur Sanders. I'm just saying. Peace Storm VA 2012. All Sanders fans want is a fair shot. No hate for Dylan Gabriel. Facts. I've been saying that for weeks now, man. It'd be crazy because they try to, oh my gosh, these zealots, the Shedeurians are, stop. Y'all been doing way too much. All you want is a fair opportunity to play. But at every turn, there's no, you tell us why he can't play. What do you think people are going to do? They're going to push back against you. You ain't seen him play, but you talk about getting another quarterback. Think about that. Think about how disingenuous that is. You're in a season that you're losing. The quarterback that you got playing is a rookie. He's not playing well, but you sit here give us some advice, some ridiculous advice that we don't want to rush him out and ruin him. Like what Dylan Gabriel was getting ruined? What are you talking about? Like he's a 12-year-old kid that's getting beat up by. Stop it. I would rather them just, I'm looking out for his long-term career, but in the next sentence you say, they're going to draft the quarterback next year anyway. So are you looking out for his long-term career? You're not. You're just sitting here trying to come up with any excuse why he shouldn't play. It's silly. And you keep doing it, and it don't make nobody else look silly but you. C.A. Anderson, I thank God for right now. Shedeur will play in the perfect time. Not my timing, not y'all's timing, but God's perfect timing. Listen to the interviews, watch his movements. He understands God's timing. We are here right now, each and every one of us, because of the timing. Not mine, not yours, but his. For everybody. We are just moving in concert on his will and time. That's why I can sit back and sip my coffee. What shall pass will pass. Neil Gray. Adaptation and change is inevitable. When it comes to sports and life, there is no fear when the outcome can't be determined without trial and error. It's beautiful. We get philosophical over here. This is why I got to. I like y'all. I like all the other platforms. I got the best people. I'm sorry. The people I got over here, I got the best people that watch. You know why? Because they bring thought-provoking content. They bring it. Nita. He not ready means we not ready to be wrong or a culture change. They don't want the same crowd they saw at Colorado. Yet they want them. Ooh, girl. Girl, you going, ooh. Mm. See, tribalism is a funny thing. It's funny how instantly it became the Shedeur followers versus the Browns followers. Who created that war? I don't think nobody that was who created that war. Because here's the thing: if Shedeur Sanders is good, doesn't that mean that you're going to buy a 12 Browns jersey? You can't separate the two. That's why I can't pay for no. When we go out to eat, I'll be seeing, now don't get mad at me. If you do this, this is your life, as long as you stay happily married. But for me, ain't no such thing as separate check when we go to that restaurant. If I'm sitting up in there with my wife and we eating food and we done all sat together and we eating food, what? If she ain't got no money, that means she can't eat? If I ate, you ate. If you eat, I eat. It don't even matter whose money the purse is in. Because if we look in the eyes of the state of Ohio, in the United States of America, when I said I do, you are entitled to 50% of everything I have, regardless of whether or not you're going to pay for the bill or not. So how are we going to go have a split bill? How am I going to borrow money from you? Technically, you got half of what I got anyway. So let's extrapolate that and bring that to football. If Shedeur Sanders is the face of the Cleveland Browns organization, he is the quarterback of the Browns. He is in the community. He wears the jersey. He lives here. He pays taxes here. How is it that you feel that a person that would not support Shedeur Sanders is not by proxy supporting the Cleveland Browns? Maybe see, critical thinking. It's critical thinking. I just want to be critical. Critical thinking. Rachel Saunders. Not shipping and receiving. Thank you for becoming a member for a month. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Rachel. You know, I like the fact that they show how long you've been down. I appreciate you. Potent 76. The Browns can't win because they don't have any connections or recognize any former players, coaches, or personnel. There's a lot of the Browns players, you know, Hanford Dixon and Joe Hayden and Josh Cribbs and, you know, Eric Meg. A lot of these folks is like, I don't understand what y'all are looking at. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Sharon Bozeman, G. Bush, thank you for being clear-eyed. You know, hey, listen, I keep my glasses on. I'm a little foggy when I ain't got my glasses, but I put these glasses on, I'm good. Miss Bell 70. Congratulations, so deserving. I think she's talking about the magazine cover. Shout out to them. Shout out to Triumph Magazine as well. We appreciate you. G. Bush, that's fire. Happy you was recognized for your work and impact on the community. Blessings to you and your family. Doggy Bone, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. You know, I told people I've gone through a metamorphosis a lot over this last year. And I truly believe that some of the success that I'm having today is due to some of the metamorphosis that God has brought me through in the last year in my journey, my personal growth. And he's been very, very prevalent in that. And so a lot of people say, well, I seen a change in your content. You know, say, you know, it's a lot of different things that I'm into. You know, I'm into uplifting my community. I'm into uplifting people. I'm into not division or divisiveness, but I'm into having conversations and making a difference. So the fact that they chose me to do that, man, I appreciate you. Shout out to Triumph Magazine again. I don't know where you can get this. I just got the copy. I don't know when it releases in and coming up, but it shows the barbershop on here, and it also shows, and what I like the most is not only shows the barbershop, but it gives an opportunity to show the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. As you can see, we got the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show in there. We got my guys, Earl the Pearl down here in the left, and Mikey McNuggets, DJ Hazmat. We had a lot of people, so we done shot a lot of different things that shows the Emmy that we won on the show. So it does a lot of different things to really show love to everybody involved. And it ain't just about me. It's about those, those individuals and people that are on all different platforms, because I wouldn't be who I was if I didn't have those individuals on the platform that contribute to that. So it's not a one-man band, not a one-man army. You know what I'm saying? It's a collaboration. So I want to thank all those dudes, Tyvis Earl, Mikey McNuggets, director Steve, executive producer Steve, Jay Crawford, Jason Lloyd, Dee, anybody who comes on, Ross Tucker, Leroy, whatever, all of them. I appreciate everyone. And see, this is why you name people. I'm Dustin Fox. I got to remember, you should never name people, because if you don't mention somebody, they're going to come back and text you. Let me think. Am I missing anybody? Mary Kay, shout out to her. So I appreciate everybody on the show and helping it build what it is and moving the conversation forward. So I appreciate you guys. Let's see where we're at. Eric says, thank you for representing us, G. Bush. Thank you. Thank you for listening, Eric. It's a lot of times where, I'm not the direct representation of what Black America feels. But I do feel that there is a responsibility for the Black community to be heard. And it's no knock against any other community. I just feel like you should represent those who look and feel and understand what you feel and understand. So that's not a knock against anybody else. Neil Gray, this ain't about Shedeur versus Dylan. It's about how best we evaluate and develop our rookies while incorporating our vets to be playing at an elite level for the 25 season while planning for the future. Go Browns. Very eloquently said. We don't got to divide and conquer. It's about finding out, guess what? Let's figure out how we get our guys in the best position and see what we got to win some football games moving forward. Stelmo Fudd, Triumph is the #1 Black magazine in Cleveland, city of Cleveland. I commend you on being recognized as a much needed talent in our city. The dog pound got you, big dog. Selmo Fudd, thank you so much. You know what? I was like, it was crazy because I had already been a fan of the magazine. I've been a fan of it. It was in the lobby of WKYC. And when they reached out to me, I was just like, I'm thinking they want me to be on like the, how you give you the article. And when I was coming up, we had the Jet magazine. So let me put the ones in the chat. It's about Jet magazine. We had the Jet magazine. Boy, you knew you was jumping if you was popping in the Jet magazine. In my uncle's barbershop, they would get that. They would have the Source magazine. They would have Double XL. You know what I'm saying? They would have, they even had, they even had people come by from the Nation of Islam. They would have the community board. So it was very community centric in my uncle's barbershop prior to hair care. So it was crazy. And then, Triumph magazine was, something I already paid attention to. So when they say, hey, we want to do a story, I was like, wow, that's wild. It's wild to me, man. So shout out to them, man. I appreciate them. Brody's bottom line, the problem I have with Jason J, sometimes, Bull, they think because we like Shedeur, we don't watch the game tape or the games. Yeah, sometimes there's a misconception, like just because we like my like for somebody is going to cloud what I'm talking about in terms of football. Like, look, man, I'm breaking down tape. I'm watching tape. I'm talking, like, do you know how many offensive coordinators that I've even either played with or speak to, or countless people that played it? I mean, it's too many to count. You know what I mean? It's not like, see, I think sometimes people get caught up in the jewelry and the clothes and the way I talk, and I like to be funny sometimes, but I'm talking to people all the time, like offensive people, like people that break down tape. And so the fact that people would insinuate that, like, oh, I like Shedeur Sanders, and the fact that Shedeur Sanders, I like him, I'm just going to make up believe that he's not good. Like, does Mel Kiper just not like him or like him that much? He had him ranked the number one quarterback on the board. There's multiple people who did. Just like, and I didn't take their word for it, but I watched him. So, yeah, sometimes it's a little frustrating because I don't think they understand that there's a level of integrity from people who've been in those rooms who got cussed out. I used to get cussed out on tape all the time. In high school, we watched film, get cussed out, understanding like, yo, I did this, messed up. Everybody knows film is accountability. So the basis of what I talk about is film. The foundation of football is what you do on the field, not about whether I like you or not, or if you got a watch on, or if we don't worry about that. Neither. The picture shows Prime taught his children their success is not dependent on man's failure. Facts. Kevin Boykins, thank you for becoming a member. I really appreciate you, Kevin. Welcome to the family. Doggy Bone, also, I appreciate you unapologetically being yourself. Black nerds with a spectrum of passions is underrepresented. Brings me joy seeing another nerd. Nerding out. You know, I used to have, it's the difference between my mom I used to say, I used to be Garrett. Garrett. A lot of people don't know, like I grew up and I was supposed to be a foreign exchange student. So there was a program in which they sent you, so, you know, it was one of them programs where it'd be like a young gifted program or whatever. And I don't like saying young gifted because, I mean, that's subjective. It sounds crazy. It's wild work. But I was supposed to go study in Europe, right? And you had 2 times that you can go, 7th grade and like 10th grade. So in 7th grade, at the time, the only sport I played was baseball. In 7th grade, I was really good in baseball. But I had really great academics. I mean, I won the Science Olympics a few times. We did so guess what? They're like, yeah, he'll go to Europe and he'll study. And my mom was like, under no circumstances. Because she just felt like I didn't have the maturity level. And I give her credit because she said, if he does not learn how to deal with his own people, to talk to his own people, to be comfortable in white America and comfortable in his own community, he's going to be a person that will never be able to make it in the real world because he has to learn how to deal with both groups of people. And so she said, I will think about it. And if he gets to 10th grade and his grades are still good, I may consider it. 10th grade came around and I had grew 4 or 5 inches. I started lifting weights, grew 4 or 5 inches. At that time, I played varsity basketball, baseball, and football. And there was a little thing called the all the fly little girls at school. I was like, nope. What you talking about? I ain't going to Europe. I'm him now. I'm Himothy at Camp McKinley. I done won championships. Why would I go over there? I'm gonna just stay over here and get this. So by that time, it had already passed. But I still went to programs like Buckeye Boys State. I still went to programs in which, it was based on curriculum and based on scholastic achievement. And I'm happy for those things because it did give me a passion for other things besides sports, right? And I try to incorporate those things in my conversation. All right, let's see. B Jammin'. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. I appreciate you, man. Keisha Stephanie. Keisha Stephanie. Is that Stephanie? I apologize if I don't get it correct the first time I try to. It seems like the narrative keeps changing to explain why he's not playing. He's not ready. Distraction. Does he want to play? It's crazy. You know, it's funny, Keisha. It's wearing out. It's getting real. It's getting real. Now, you're starting to see people be like, if he ain't ready, you wasn't ready. If he ain't ready, the organization wasn't ready. And the quarterback you got wasn't ready. C.A. Anderson, I can't wait for the whole city to get behind 12. The Browns are going to be lit. Y'all's fan base is crazy. The NFL is waiting to waiting. The world is wait. The NFL is waiting. The world is waiting. By the way, them gonna be your in-laws. They're gonna be crazy. Y'all gonna. I'm telling y'all, you're gonna be. They're gonna be y'all. The Browns fan base look at y'all like the crazy in-laws. You look at them like the crazy in-laws. It's gonna take a little time for y'all to get together, but y'all both they both think y'all crazy. Skull 13. If the Jets game is Waterloo, then AB trading Flacco is Russia burning Moscow to deny food shelter to the French army before Waterloo. Preach on, G. Bush. Boy, this is why I love this right here. History 101 with G. Bush in the chat. Man, we got the best chat up in here, I'm telling you. Hey, Skull 13. It's a lot of confused people. They're like, what? What? Moscow was burning. I didn't know Putin was burning Moscow. Fools. Young among. I want Shedeur Sanders to start for Vegas. That's a perfect situation. Let Dylan Gabriel run his course for the next 2 games and let Shedeur start next 7 games would be a massive game for the league and Jimmy. A lot of people say Vegas. He got a lot of fans out of Vegas too. It'll be a nice game. Be people pulling up. I do think it's about 8 built-in quarters. Because is Tommy Rees really want that on his resume that he was the one that said we need to go to Shedeur Sanders after the Jets game? No. And there's no way that Ravens game. Whew, St. Ivy 222. It should be a Shedeur versus Dylan. It should be we want to win. Why do certain Cleveland Browns fans and Kevin view Shedeur as the enemy? Well, this is the tale as old as time. For every hero, you have to have an anti-hero, don't you? That's how humans gain context. Humans need context in the world, and usually the easy way to do it is to juxtapose one person versus the other person. So instead of saying we're going to win on the merits, we have to contrast what you are compared to another person. It's just easy. We do it. Why do you think it's a 2-party system in America? Republicans and Democrats. There's capitalism and socialism. There's black or white. There's poor or rich. There's all types of different things, right? But usually we draw the lines in the sand and we get to it and it gives us meaning. The reality of the situation, it doesn't need to be that way. Both players play for the Cleveland Browns, and it's not a knock against either one. If you said one of them is going to be a starting quarterback and the other one's going to be a backup, guess what? When do you get to a point where you could just say, okay, well, we want both of them to play well for the Browns, and that's just what it is. But it's always been like that in the world. J.A. must be a corporate brown noser. Cameron, love corporate America all you want. You've seen CBS's nasty work. Non-black executives were reassigned. Yeah, I did see that. While all blacks were laid off. Cameron, go to sleep. Cook, G. Bush keeps it fair. Hey, look, man. There's corporate America. Look, I done worked in every like. Here's the thing. I can have a critique about every industry, right? I've worked in a lot of them. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked for 4 major insurance companies. Do major insurance companies do everything that they can not to pay? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Like, we all as people have worked for multiple entities. The truth is, whether I'm telling the truth or not, it's big business. They're going to keep rolling regardless, right? Little old G. Bush saying something about the insurance company ain't going. One of my biggest takes was based on DeMar Hamlin dying on the football field. And it got, I don't know, he's got almost 1 billion views or something. But that take came from not from a knock against it. It came from the fact of just the me trying to educate you on, guys, you guys are worried about the wrong things. These folks is doing this. It's going to continue to keep going. K3, the best cheesehead, but here for 12, and state G around for the G, and stayed around for G. I appreciate it. Jim Schwartz, head coach. Tommy Reese, Brian Hartline, wide receivers coach. The good money take about that move. Yeah, I like that. I wouldn't mind having that. I ain't gonna lie. Take two. Only jersey I bought as an adult is Shedeur Sanders, coming from my 5 and 4 Panthers play. 12, I'll be in Cleveland to watch him make history. G. Bush preach. He's trying to tell you. They're going to pull up. Emmanuel Johnson. First DePodesta. Now we see a vid of Shedeur. Fire up the ones. Did you see it, Emmanuel Johnson? He was throwing to Njoku. The ones refs is coming. Colorado kickoff in 5 minutes. A Juju era begins. By the way, I'm excited for that too. I'll be watching that too. Yeah, we on that. We got that on we got that recording. Miss Melanated. They tried to break Shedeur, but he knows who he is and who he is, and who he is. He has an excellent support system. It's not about the money, it's about the game. Facts all the way around. Yeah, I got the money. Oso de Oro, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. And then he also gives me another super chat. So thanks for your generosity. G. Bush, please ask your co-hosts how people would have felt if Baker Mayfield would have pulled up to the trailer park and blessed everyone. Baker Mayfield did some things not in that same vein, in terms of just pulling up to different places. Baker Mayfield did stuff in terms of speaking and making it okay for the Cleveland Browns to be the Browns fans. He was defiant. He was brash. He was unapologetically wore his heart on his sleeve, and he represented the Browns. And a lot of people felt a very strong way about Baker Mayfield. And it's no knock. That's why we be laughing. You say, how you mad because you support, Shedeur Sanders? There are people that still to this day said, I'm going to follow Baker wherever he was at. They had a 6 jersey here. They went to Pittsburgh. They went to the Panthers. They followed him to Rams. And that, people on the show right now love Tampa Bay. We know who they are, but that's your prerogative. Ain't no problem with that. You can still do 2 things at once. Speaking of doing 2 things at once, man, make sure you get back here. We will be back tomorrow. Right here on the Barbershop. We're going to be breaking this game down for this game against the Jets. I told you it's pivotal. We're going to see what they're going to do after the bye week. We're going to figure out what Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Reese, does the playbook look different? And are we closer to figuring out when 12 is in the game? We'll see how it goes out, man. We'll see what Dylan Gabriel comes out of the bye week with, but I'm interested in seeing it. We want to thank every one of our guests, every one of our subscribers, and all our new subscribers for welcoming into the team. For my UCSS people, we appreciate you. For my barbershop people, we appreciate you. If you're on Facebook, make sure you follow me. If you're on Twitter, make sure you follow me as well. With that being said, you never know where G. Bush might show up: radio, television, internet, wherever I'm at. But if you want the fresh take on sports, you already know what it is. You got to be in the barbershop. I keep the clippers with me. Have a good rest of your evening and a good rest of your Saturday watching college football. And as always, maybe back here, UCSS, 2-minute warning. Then we get to the barbershop post-game show. Have a good rest of your day. And as always, even though I be talking about them, as always, go Browns.